Ralph Wilson Stadium right outside of Buffalo, New York, where a sellout crowd is here for one thing.
We got to pay back. Revenge.
The Godfather of Soul sets the mood as the Buffalo Bills look for some payback against the AFC champion Tennessee Titans. Good evening, everybody. I'm Mike Patrick. It's great to have you with us. The Music City Miracle had a dramatic impact on both ball clubs. It propelled Tennessee through the rest of the playoffs and into the Super Bowl, where they came up just 1 yard short. For Buffalo, it was a bitter pill to swallow, and the aftertaste is still there. It also marked the end of an era when the club released Bruce Smith, Andre Reed, and Thurman Thomas. Tonight, the much-anticipated rematch. Joe and Paul, what do you think?
Michael, what the Buffalo Bills lost in experience, they gained in speed and in talent and athleticism. And to capitalize on this speed, Joe, Antoine Smith is, first of all, he's got to stay healthy. He's got to give him the kind of year he gave him in '98, over 1,100 yards rushing. But most importantly, Joe, he's got to have a good game tonight. That will keep the pressure off their quarterback, Rob Johnson, so he can utilize his speed downfield.
Oh, Paul, that's all well and good. But who's going to block Javon Curse? Here's a guy who just wreaked havoc on that offense. I really think he's the guy that they have to concern themselves with so that they're able to throw the ball down the field. As far as Tennessee goes, well, Eddie George is the guy you know who's going to get the football. Steve McNair, who has really been a great runner for them, also will contribute. I really see the big difference in this game tonight, though. Tennessee will try and get the ball down the field. They've added Carl Pickens. That ought to help their passing game out tremendously.
Joseph, this plays into the Buffalo Bills game plan. The Buffalo Bills want Steve McNair to prove to them that he can beat them throwing the ball down the field. Michael?
Thank you, guys. Is it rematch or revenge? We'll find out in a moment. Tune in, log on, speak out. It's Enhanced TV, the online interactive complement to tonight's broadcast. Log on to ESPN.com or NFL.com now and click the Enhanced TV logo. Go to the sidelines. Solomon Wilcox with Jeff Fisher.
Yeah, Mike, normally before a game, a coach will either introduce his offense or his defense. And Coach Fisher, tonight, you decide to introduce your special team. What statement were you looking to make?
We've done this before, but this week is special to us. Tonight is because our special teams coach, Alan Lowry, is not with us. And we wanted Alan and Donna to know that we're with him. It's simply all it was. He'll be rejoining the team here very shortly.
Now, your last game, neither team was able to pass for more than 100 yards. Can you win a game like that tonight?
You know, we're going to do what it takes to win. Both teams would like to throw a little more, but we're going to do what it takes to win. That's what's got us here at this point.
All right, Coach, good luck tonight. Well, we're just 8 months removed from the Music City Miracle, and tonight the Buffalo Bills are looking to put an end to what has been for them a very sour note.
End zone! Touchdown Titans! It's a miracle! Tennessee has pulled a miracle!
Back in Buffalo, New York, and when the schedule came out this year and the Buffalo fans saw this was their opening game, they've had it marked on the calendar ever since. They have waited, it seems to them, an eternity. They won't have to wait much longer. Buffalo has won the toss, and Craig Hendrick will kick off. The Bills had trouble with their return game during the preseason, so last Sunday they traded for Chris Watson from the Denver Broncos, 11th in the NFL a year ago in kickoff returns. Watson from the 2 just stayed in bounds. Cut down at the 14. The Bills offense has Rob Johnson at quarterback. Even though he started only 8 games in his career, he's shown all the skills. Now can he stay healthy? The backs, Smith and Jackson, the receivers. Mold's a Pro Bowler in '98, and in spite of injuries, just missed 1,000 yards last year. Price and Reimers for the tight end. Up front, Fina, Reuben Brown selected to the Pro Bowl 4 straight years. Ostrowski, Nails, and Hicks. Rob Johnson in his 6th year out of USC. to throw on first down, and he is dropped at the 7-yard line. Took the short drop and was nailed from behind. Jason Fisk, the right defensive tackle, on him in a heartbeat.
Jason Fisk, he's one of the smarter defensive linemen. But watch this. Ostrowski just does not block him, and the receivers, it was just a short route, Joe, of about 3 yards.
Well, the big thing is a center can't take a side, and that's exactly what Ostrowski did. Fisk just went around him.
Antoine Smith. Cut down, got back to about the original line of scrimmage. The Titans defense starts with Javon Curse. The Pro Bowler is a rookie who led the AFC in sacks, along with Thornton, Fisk, and Holmes. They added speed and quickness at linebacker. Favors, Randall Godfrey, the free agent from Dallas in the middle, and Robinson. In the secondary, Sidney and Roll at the corners. At safety, Blaine Bishop, a terrific tackler and 3-time Pro Bowler, and Robertson. Javon Curse, happy birthday. You know what he wants for a birthday present? His first sack of 2000. Blitz. Johnson hit as he throws. Intended for Price, incomplete. Covered beautifully by Damon Sidney. And Johnson was drilled.
Oh, he was drilled. But Sean Bryson, I mean, he stepped up and took on Javon Curse. And you got a back trying to block Javon Curse. He did a great job.
Watch Bryson, left side of your screen, steps up, but you can't block everybody. That's Godfrey right up the middle. The problem is the communication up front by the offensive line. They've got to protect the middle solid and give Rob a chance to get the ball out.
Chris Moore to punt to Derek Mason. A beauty. Drives Mason inside his 30. Gets it back almost 10 yards after a 56-yard punt. For Tennessee's offense, more is expected from Steve McNair, who threw just 12 touchdown passes last year. He'll look for more big plays this season. Eddie George will be the primary weapon again. He has at least 1,200 yards rushing his first 4 years. With him, Neal, Pickens, Dyson, and Wycheck at tight end. Up front, a big veteran line with Hopkins, Bruce Matthews, the 12-time Pro Bowler starting his 18th year, Long, Olsen, and Miller. Long count, flags are down. Eddie George for a couple.
Mike, this is going to be the problem for Tennessee. Buffalo had the problem in Tennessee a year ago because of the noise.
Ball start. Left guard. Offense. For first down.
This is going to limit what Tennessee can do on offense. They won't be able to communicate. The outside tackles are going to have to look in at the ball. It's going to make it a little tougher to block that front four of Buffalo.
A mistake to go on a long count like that?
That actually wasn't a long count. That was a normal one.
Eddie George on the toss. The Bills defense has Hanson, Washington, and Marcellus Wiley, who takes over for the departed legend Bruce Smith. Very active linebacker. Newman, Holisek, Sam Cowart, one of the league's best, 186 tackles last year, and Rogers. In the secondary, Winfield, Irvin, Henry Jones, a very aggressive safety who has cover skills, and Carpenter. Marcellus Wiley on the right defensive side. McNair, rolling out of the backfield, cut down. Nice stop by Henry Jones, who goes out on the backup tight end.
You know, last year in that playoff game, Joe, we talked to both teams. They were very tentative about what they did in the ball game. They just did not want to make a mistake. And the Bills came out and they threw the ball a couple of times down the field. Tennessee is very, very conservative, and I thought that they may go downfield early.
I think Jeff Fisher's approaching it the right way, though, Paul. This is a hostile environment. You don't want to give them an interception or a sack early. Try and get this thing a little bit under control, which I don't think is going to happen.
No, hostile's a great word. Good protection for McNair. For his favorite target, Frank Wycheck, just across our 1st and 10 line at midfield. It's a first down.
I felt like Steve McNair had one area to work on coming into this year, and that was being a pocket passer. And that's what he showed right here. You see McNair go back. There's Wycheck working the middle of the football field. Good little head shake. Does a nice job of getting in the area where he can make the completion.
Marcellus Wiley, 75. Watch 27, Eddie George. He puts him on his back. Now, we know he can run with the ball, but he also hits people.
McNair intended for Wycheck. It's picked off by Keon Carpenter. Too high for Wycheck, and Carpenter gets his first interception of the season. First break to Buffalo. Crowd of more than 75,000 on hand. Second possession for the Bills, Antoine Smith for a couple. Keon Carpenter won the starting free safety job in camp. It was a three-way battle. He was with the club last year, but didn't get to play defensively, so he goes from a special teamer to a starter.
Well, you know, you learn an awful lot on special teams, Joe. You learn how to be a defensive back, and you know, one of the things they teach defensive backs is when that ball is tipped, they go through that tip drill every single day. The ball comes down. And Wycheck is the guy that tipped the ball. He was a tight end. He knocked it up in the air.
Johnson with the luxury of no crowd noise, changing the play. Kearse comes flying in from his end spot to make a tackle. Oh.
Well, you know what? Jay Remersma is saying that Javon Kearse was offside.
You just can't believe how quick he is. This is real time. Watch him go around the corner. Remersma's the tight end. You're not supposed to be able to do this that far away from the runner. Remersma knocks him down. He runs into him, but he's able to come around the block so quickly. We all talk about his ability to rush the passer. You forget. Everybody said, well, we can run at him. I don't think so.
3rd and 8 for the Bills. Johnson, a bullet, but it's incomplete. Intended for McDaniel, well short of him. And the Bills can't take advantage of the interception. They'll have to punt.
Well, and one thing this crowd can't say is we want Flutie because you're not going to get him. I mean, he's not playing. He's the third quarterback, but he's still hurt.
And he's so disappointed. I talked to him on the field before the game. I said, are you going to be number 3? He said, yeah. Just in total disgust.
Tore a groin muscle. And still not 100%. Chris Moore, the lowest average of any punter in the last 4 years. But his specialty is hanging them high and not letting them be returned. This time he unloads one toward the sideline. Makes it all the way back to the 11. And a nice return out near the 25. 46-yard punt, a 14-yard return for Mason. It will be Tennessee's ball when we come back. It's 0-0 first quarter. Tennessee from its own 25. Eddie George hitting the backfield. The first man there, Pat Williams. You can't miss 93.
You can't miss 93 or 92. I mean, they first of all, they suck up all the bugs on the field between those two guys, Ted Washington and Pat Williams. Here they are. Look at Washington going down the line of scrimmage, no place to go, and then Pat Williams comes in and makes the tackle. That's just team defense. Remember, they were the #1 team in the National Football League on defense last year.
They asked Pat Williams what he likes best about football, and he says blowing up centers. McNair. Dyson knocked out of his hands by Winfield. Great coverage.
Antoine Winfield is a little guy, only at 5'9". Dyson's at 6'1", but he can battle anybody. And we really saw a part of his game. Watch the pass coverage. Right in his hip pocket, goes up, makes a play on the ball, gets it away. Not only is he an excellent pass defender, he'll come up and tattoo anybody carrying the ball.
He was the Thorpe Award winner in college as the best defensive back in NCAA football. 3rd and 10. Jeff Fisher said this crowd and these players would be geeked. He was right. Pressure on McNair. Eddie George, a little jump off, and he only gets to his 29. Tennessee will have to punt. And one of the reasons when Jeff Fisher said these guys will really be geeked, I think he wanted to get past the first 10 minutes of the game without anything really bad happening. Hendrick will punt to Chris Watson. Had one return for a touchdown last year with Denver. High and short. Fair catch made at the 35. Again, excellent field position for the Buffalo Bills after a punt of 35 yards. 0-0 here in Buffalo. Glad you could be with us for our season opener, Sunday Night Football year 2000 on ESPN. A scoreless battle so far between the Bills and the Titans, the rematch from last year's AFC wildcard game. Sean Bryson is the new running back. Johnson under pressure. Down he goes. A free shot for Greg Favors.
Well, nobody even slowed him down. You talk about tremendous timing. The defense is in an advantage because of the noise. But Greg Favors comes off the left-hand corner, and nobody touches him.
When Riemersma goes in motion, tight end goes in motion across the formation. Watch him just take off and go. Tight end has gone across. Now here comes the linebacker outside. The guy who did a terrific job was Rob Johnson, holding on to that football.
Hurst had to be offside that time. I mean, he's quick, but there's a limit.
I tell you, as soon as he's offside, with his speed and agility, you got to blow the whistle now and stop everything. I mean, because anytime he's offside, he's got an automatic free shot at the quarterback because there's no one going to get out of their stance and stop him.
He redefines unabated to the quarterback. That's where you really get quick.
Offside. Defense. Number 90. Still second down.
I haven't seen people this quick out of the blocks in Olympic trials. That's incredible. See, now that's where Tennessee's defense has a little bit of an advantage because there is no noise when Buffalo's offense is on the field. They'll be able to get off quickly.
Price and Moles, the wide receivers on 2nd and 12. Jeremy McDaniel comes in as the third. He's in the slot. And Bryson will get the carry across the 35. Join us for Sunday Night Football next week at 8:30 Eastern with an NFC East scorcher from the desert. The Dallas Cowboys head to Arizona to battle Jake Plummer and the Cardinals. Coverage begins at 7:30 with Chris Berman and Tom Jackson on prime time.
Sean Bryson is one of the fastest guys on the field. Now, if I can get him out where nobody's covering him, I can get him up the field real quick. Tennessee's all confused on defense.
Bryson is out as the wide receiver to the right. They look inside the Price. He's got it, but well short of a first down. And Damon Sidney, who's playing for the suspended Denard Walker, wraps him up in a hurry.
Well, we're looking at two defenses. They're putting 7 guys at least in the box and sometimes 8. And even Tennessee, when they go to their nickel and dime package, they're still putting all these guys up on the line of scrimmage, safeties and linebackers.
Sooner or later, somebody's going to have to throw the ball down the field and challenge those corners. Possibly getting an interference call or a big reception.
Well, it looks like they're going after Damon Sidney, but so far he's been more than up to the task. More to punt to Watson. Derek Mason still on his feet, across the 30. 17-yard return after a 47-yard punt. Last year's rookie sack leader. Last season's AFC wildcard game was hardly a shootout. Neither team passed for 100 yards. It was an old-fashioned slug-it-out 3 yards in the cloud of dust game. And tonight it's been the same thing. A net 10 passing yards, both teams combined so far. McNair to George. And Eddie George will draw a crowd wherever he goes. Buffalo came into this game with the same defensive philosophy. Eddie George is not going to beat us. You're going to have to do something else.
Well, you know, we sat yesterday talking to McNair, and one thing that Steve McNair said to us, he said, last year we let defenses dictate to us what we're going to do. The biggest change, he said to you, in our offense is going to be, we're going to dictate to the defense. We're going to stretch things out, get it downfield. They would like to. Right. They're not doing that.
2nd and 5. Roan. Oh, what a tackle. What a tackle by Antoine Winfield. The little guy at 5'9", 180 takes on a tight end and head over 10 counts.
Did I hear a guy say about 4 plays ago, Antoine Winfield will also tattoo you?
Tattoo is the word. Here comes a tattoo on Roan. There it is, 26, right across the thighs. What a perfect tackle.
Roan is 250.
The blitz is on. He makes a nice catch, but then look at Winfield, like a blur, come up and just nail him.
Well, he used to be 250. He's now 240.
What a terrific little football player. No, you know, I take that back.
Call him a little
I apologize.
Player.
What a terrific football player.
You were a little football player.
I was a small football player.
In your position, you were little.
That was one great hit.
They will measure for the first down.
Whoa.
And they're already marking it short. Ted Cottrell, the defensive coordinator. What a job he has to do this year, replacing the guys he lost. This team was number 1 in the NFL in total defense last year. Did not send a single guy to the Pro Bowl.
Because they did it as a team and not individuals, and that's why no one went to the Pro Bowl. They didn't have the outstanding numbers individually.
3 tight ends. Quarterback keeper. And it's easier to run it when you have a 230-pound quarterback.
And that's got to be a concern for Buffalo. You can do what you want. You know, Jeff Fisher says, okay, we're going to run Eddie George. Buffalo tries to defend it. But Steve McNair is always that uncertain aspect, whether he's dropping back to pass or on a designed run.
I'm going to tell you, I don't think he made it, because you have to get this ball on the other side of the 47-yard line, and they're on the wrong side of it. I don't think they made it.
I'm going to tell you something else. I'm not going to guess.
I think Joe's psychic hotline is closed down for the season.
That's it.
He didn't make this. I'm telling you. Look at this.
That's exactly where it was before the play.
See, you don't have to tell them by how much, Joe. Just tell them whether they make it or not. I agree with you, Paul.
McNair's trying to go over the right side. Benji Olsen, but they just plug it in. I think it's got to be so hard when you've got Pat Williams and Ted Washington inside. They're 2 immovable objects.
That's amazing.
Hendrick to punt to Watson, who waits at his own 11-yard line. Hendrick, one of the best at getting kicks deep. Put a lot of pressure on him. This one is straight up the elevator shaft. Watson all the way up to the 29-yard line for the fair catch. No return after a punt of 30. We are still scoreless in a grudge match. The owner of the team, Ralph Wilson Jr. and Jim Kelly, his longtime star quarterback, sitting together.
Jim getting a day off from Countdown.
No score, first quarter. Antoine Smith.
We said there was a lot at stake coming into this game because there were ill feelings. The rivalry is starting to build in great fashion by these hits. Godfrey on a sack of Johnson. Kearse knocking down Smith. Favor trying to behead Johnson. And then Winfield just lets Rome know, don't come running in this area too often. Wow. There's some hitting going on.
Sammy Morris is in, number 45 for Buffalo. The rookie blocking back. And the entire front wall of the Titans jumps.
In a game like this, you get yards any way you can. That's very headsy play by Rob Johnson.
John Thornton, who was offside, number 78, was pointing at the guard.
He was saying Jamie Nails moved.
Encroachment, nose guard, defense. Still second down.
They don't have a nose guard. They have two tackles.
That's correct.
Well, they have one that was
he was
very
on
nosy.
the nose.
One was on the nose.
John Thornton, a second-year player out of West Virginia, who Jeff Fisher says was the best tackle in the entire draft last year. Morris, the fullback. Morris, a running back and a fullback in college.
Offensive line doing a good job trying to work to the right side a little bit more. If you want Favor and Kearse to go up the field, that's fine. We'll take them out. Robert Hicks doing a good job of creating traffic.
Smith, nice penetration by Jason Fisk, and now a flag down at the end of the play. Fisk was in there in such a hurry, Smith had to change directions, and the initial signal is a hold against Buffalo.
I tell you, he always looks like he's eating something bad. Look at him.
Holding, 88, offense. Still first down.
Oh, my.
He just heard something bad.
I believe that Buffalo has got to try and go down the field. They can max protect, send two guys down and take a shot. It's 1st and 20. So what you do is take a shot at it. I mean, they haven't gained hardly any yards running the football. Why not? Block them as much as you can and take a shot. Eric Moulds has not been a part of this game yet. He's got to get in it.
They haven't thrown the ball to him. Carl Pickens hasn't been thrown to for Tennessee. Johnson, draw play. And this will be far short for Sean Bryson. NFL Countdown every Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern. Join Chris Berman and the gang for the NFL's best pregame show. Then at 7:30, it's all the highlights on prime time.
Aikman, naked bootleg. Do I go? I know what's going to happen, but I'm going anyway. Boom! He gets plowed.
Troy saw plenty of booms today against the Eagles.
Well, a concussion today. They knocked him out. Hope he's all right.
2nd and 16. And there was a jump and movement. Moulds was off and running. Two of the Titans defenders were across the line, and this will go against Buffalo.
Offside.
Check it.
Number 99, defense. Unabated to the quarterback. Still second down.
Boy, Jeff Fisher is saying, excuse me, Moulds was 5 yards downfield.
And they also, the official on that side gave the illegal procedure
Yes, he
signal.
did.
He pointed to Buffalo.
But they must have ruled that Kenny Holmes was offside before the movement by Moulds.
Well, Rob Johnson's doing everything he can possibly do to gain yards.
First jump. Johnson on the run to the sideline and caught by Price. Now we'll check the marker, see if there's one penalty or two. A second flag came in, but it may have also been the initial infraction.
This one's going to be against Tennessee.
Offside. Number 90, defense is declined. First down.
One of the things that Rob Johnson is doing is he's hot, and he's giving that real loud cadence. And all these guys have to do is just watch the guy in front of him. What's happening is Javon Kearse, you see him, number 90. He's not looking at Hicks. He's hearing Rob Johnson.
Bills in Tennessee territory. Play action. Johnson. Downfield. Knocked away from Moles at the last moment. Samari roll.
I don't care. That's the right call. It had to happen sooner or later. You come with a little play action to try and get the linebackers and safeties held, and then you take your shots with Eric Moles. He's just too big and too good a football player not to try and get the ball to. Samari roll. How fast is he? Does a nice job of timing his leap to knock the ball away.
He says against bigger receivers, he likes to stay back and then close on them, and he did it beautiful.
Because he knows how quick he can recover.
2nd and 10. Smith, big hole. Good tackle by Blaine Bishop.
Let's take a look at it from the ump cam. You're going to see right in the middle of the field. Jerry Ostrowski is the center, number 50. Look at Javon Curse comes inside, and Reuben Brown, number 79, blocks him and opens the hole.
One thing, too, the thing we need to talk about a little bit, when these two teams played the playoffs, the Buffalo Bills offensive line didn't look anything like this. I mean, Fina was hurt, Hicks was hurt. The guys were out.
They're in much better shape right now than when they played the Titans at the end of last season. End of the first quarter, we are still scoreless in Buffalo. We had the privilege of being there for the Music City Miracle and calling the game. They called it home run throwback. Wade Phillips still calls it home run throw forward. There are people in Buffalo who do not accept the result of last year's game.
Well, we had the opportunity to go to New York at the beginning of the year and look at that play all the way back, and I'm going to tell you, there is one angle that shows that it is definitely a lateral, but these people, not one player, not one person, will ever buy it.
Well, of course not. You're in Buffalo. Why would you buy it? I mean, nobody's going to believe it, but really, when you look at it, I think if you take the emotion out of it, you have to realize that it was an excellent decision by the officials.
3rd and 6 for Johnson. Complete to McDaniel at the 31, first down, Buffalo. Let's go back to the Music City Miracle in the AFC wild card game. Here is Wycheck after the handoff to Dyson. Remember, the rule is if the ball is not going forward, it is legal. And as it turned out, it was not going forward. It was legal. And you saw the referee making the call. If he says that's a forward lateral, the play is dead. It could not even have been reviewed by instant replay. And again, somebody jumps off sides this time. It's Holmes.
Encroachment, 99, defense. Still first down.
Besides the job that Rob Johnson is doing with the hard count, you wouldn't be able to get Jeff Fisher's defense to jump offside like that if your offensive line was moving. Those 5 guys up front are showing an awful lot of discipline staying there.
Yeah, well, that's because they know the snap count.
That's their 4th offside.
Antoine Smith. I want you to take a look at our Enhanced TV interactive poll. Was the Music City Miracle a forward pass or a backward pass? Vote for it, whichever way you like, and we'll come back and show you the results on Enhanced TV.
And I'll be able to tell you all the people in Western New York that voted.
Yeah. There's one opinion. 3rd and 2. 2nd and 2. There's Smith. He's got the first down and more to the 16-yard line. And look at the emotion. Jamie Nails jumping up and down.
As much as the offensive line, Jamie Nails and company is doing a good job, by those hard counts, you've got Tennessee back on their heels just a little bit.
I said at the beginning of this game, the guy that has to have an excellent game tonight is this guy. Number 23, Antoine Smith. The offensive line is blocking. That's excellent blocking by Fina and Brown. And look at this hole. Right up the middle.
And Fina really gets the guy that's the key in the heart and soul of this defense, Blaine Bishop.
Johnson changing the play. Keep in mind that Joe Panos, the starting right guard, is not in there tonight. He's injured, and Jamie Nail starting for him. Johnson flush. Looks to the end zone. Price caught right hand. What a catch by Peerless Price with Damon Sidney draped all over him.
Now, Rob Johnson doesn't necessarily get all the hype about his ability to run for yards, but he buys an awful lot of time. Look at Price keep working. It bounces, and he winds up catching it with one hand. Off the left shoulder pad for the touchdown.
Steve Christie for the point after. And 75,000 plus on their feet to cheer the Buffalo Bills, who have just taken a 7-0 lead. $75,000 people psyched as Ralph Wilson Stadium jammed to the rafters for this.
Rob Johnson going back. He audibles, likes the one-on-one coverage, does a good job of moving around, really is a good runner. And then throws the ball the only place he can. But what a terrific catch by Peerless.
The Buffalo Bills got everybody up like it's going to be an onside kick. So that moves up Tennessee's special teams.
You'd better be aware on special teams tonight. Mason to the 26. Monday Night Countdown. Tomorrow night at 7:30 Eastern. Mike Tirico and the gang review Sunday's top stories and preview the Monday night matchup. Then at 9, it's ABC's Monday Night Football with a tilt between the last two Super Bowl champions. The Broncos battle the Rams. Tennessee facing its first deficit. They have the ball just outside their own 25-yard line. Their offense has done virtually nothing. Eddie George, 3 yards.
You know what they did? They brought Lorenzo Neal back into the ball game. They went with 2 wide receivers and 1 tight end, a fullback and Eddie George, and they're going to go back to what gets them where they got them where they were last year, and that's run the football with Eddie George.
I agree with that, Paul, but I also think the same thing about Tennessee because their offenses are almost mirrored. At some point, they're going to have to try and find the field position to get the ball down the field as well.
Eddie George only 6 yards on 3 carries so far. Here comes the blitz. That ball looked like it was tipped at the line of scrimmage and short of the intended receiver, incomplete.
You either got to get back a little further or throw a little quicker. On the right-hand side of your screen, just take a look. That's Phil Hansen, number 90, one of the defensive captains. He gets his hands up and knocks the ball down. I'm saying, either get back a little further or throw it a little quicker.
Hansen never gets publicity. He just makes plays. And he is the leader of that defense. 3rd and 7. McNair underneath to Eddie George. And Eddie George fights forward for the first down. He got away from Sam Coward for the yardage that he needed.
Sam Coward tried to put the brakes on, Joe. And it really is, I mean, it's not funny for him, but it is funny. Eddie George has got the ball. Sam Coward is out in space, number 56. He's got to tackle Eddie George. Eddie George stops, and Sam Coward can't.
Sam's not laughing, Paul.
No, he's not. Well, here it comes. Watch this. Watch Eddie George. He's going to put on the brakes. He can feel him. Boom. There goes Sam Coward by. Sam does get back and get an ankle.
Rodney Thomas, number 22, is in to give George a breathe. And Thomas will get the ball. And he's turned back at the corner. Rogers did a nice job holding up the blocking. This defense, there were questions about it, of course, after it was number 1 a year ago. They lost 4 starters, including Bruce Smith, Kurt Schultz, Gabe Northern. They look like they're in pretty decent shape, don't they?
They're the numbers from last year. First total game yards, first, fourth, second. Doesn't look like they've missed a whole lot.
No, it doesn't. Eddie George back in. McNair with time. Rome makes his 3rd catch. He has been his favorite target.
Well, we were talking to Teddy Cottrell the other day and asked him, Joe, about, what about your defense? You were number, he said, we still are. We were number 1 last, we still are. We haven't played a game yet. He said, I'm not worried about our guys. Our guys will be fine. And I'll tell you something, Ted, they're fine.
They look fine. Marcellus Wiley taking over for Bruce Smith at the right defensive end. 3rd and 3. McNair, another short set and a poor pass.
That pass was caught.
Wycheck somehow went down to the turf and got it. I thought that ball bounced.
It did. I think it bounced off his hands up in the air.
I'm laughing.
And as he rolls over, he not only makes the catch, but has the presence to mind to crawl 2 yards.
Guy has incredible hands.
There's the throw. You see him just on the right side of your screen. Is it off his hands?
Oh, that bounced.
Well, you see it.
His hands are underneath the ball.
Now it lands on his stomach. Now watch this. He has the presence of mind to try and go forward. Yep, it's off his hand. It's off his hand, on his stomach, goes forward for the first down.
Buffalo has challenged the ruling on the field of a completed catch.
It is being challenged. From that angle, it looks like it hits the turf. From the other angle, it looked like he had his hand under it.
I think he gets his right hand under it.
Buffalo will challenge the call.
Wade wants to really make sure.
Well, the one way you're going to be able to tell very quickly is because he's got the gloves are on the ground. That ball hits his hand. And I'm going to tell you, look at here. His hands are on the ground. Both hands are on the ground. The ball pops up.
I think it bounces off his right hand.
Look at this. Here's another shot at it. The ball is in his hand, hits him in the face mask.
I think you're right.
I'm going to tell you, it is conclusive that he caught the ball.
Well, it would have to be conclusive that he didn't to overturn it because they ruled it a catch on the field. Now, if you want to vote at home, you vote yes if you think the play should stand as called. It was a catch. You vote no if you think it should be overturned, that the ball hit the turf. People are voting. Let the play stand 63%. Almost 2 out of 3. Pretty good eyes at home.
Nashville's being heard of.
Nashville's watching.
But I really do. I agree that is his hands. Look at Wycheck's hand. He's got those black gloves on.
Yep.
The ball hits his right hand, hits him in the face mask. This is just a great play. Give it to him.
Well, it's some concentration.
I don't think you give it to him just because it's a great play.
No, but I'm saying it is a great play.
A pass is ruled incomplete.
I don't agree with it.
I don't know how they could find conclusive evidence that the ball hit the turf. Do you?
No, absolutely not.
Neither did 63% of the fans at home in our interactive poll, but it's incomplete.
And they saw the same thing that the officials see.
Exactly. So Hendrick, that would have been a first down. Hendrick now has to come on to punt, and Chris Watson waits at the 10. Even if it's a bad call, you don't think the people here think that that's a little payback already? Beautiful kick by Hendrick. A mile high. They let it go, and they'll down it at the 7-yard line. Howard, the first man down on special teams. A 47-yard kick and no return. Bills on top 7-0. Mike Patrick, Paul McGuire, Joe Theismann, Solomon Wilcox, our entire ESPN crew with you tonight. Glad you could join us for this. There is Javon Kearse, who has already made his presence known. Buffalo takes over at its own 7. Antoine Smith tests the right side. To the 13. Let's go to Solomon Wilcox on the sideline.
Yeah, Mike, before the game, I talked to Tennessee head coach Jeff Fisher, and I asked him if he still gets just as excited before the game as he did during his playing days. He said, absolutely. He said, but I have to remind myself to calm down, to settle down. He spent most of this first half trying to get his defensive linemen to settle down. He's been taking them out after they jump off sides one by one, trying to get them to settle down. They're really excited. First game of the season, and so they're really pumped up. He's trying to get them to settle down, Mike.
Solomon, he was busy. He was taking out a lot of guys. Johnson in trouble. Everybody came. The ball came loose. Johnny Greer says the quarterback was in the grasp and control, I believe, and that saved him a fumble.
There's a case where he tried to go on the hard count. The center snapped the ball without him expecting it.
Well, you're going to see guys in back of Greg Favors, number 51. Javon Curse, he's over on top of Fina. Look at, here's Favors. He goes down. I'm going to tell you what.
There's a chance this could be a fumble.
Where is his knee has got to be down.
Yep. His knee
is not down. That's a fumble.
But Johnny Greer blew the whistle because he was in the grasp. And that's the way they're protecting the quarterback.
Even if they challenged it, they couldn't get the ball.
Wouldn't matter.
They don't have in the grasp anymore, do they?
Grasp and control, so the quarterback doesn't get hurt. Johnson, Hurst chasing him, and he gets out of bounds. Smart move. Bills got a break there. Curse can run.
If I were on the Bills offense, I would every down I would happy birthday him. Happy birthday. I'd be singing, Vaughn. 24 years old.
24.
He's got a nice bracelet, doesn't he, Mike? Something for your wife?
42 carats of diamonds on that bracelet.
And they just left it laying in the locker room.
Derek Mason waits at the 50. Moore, very high, very short, and out of bounds. Let's see where they mark it. It'll be close to the 40. There is a flag down back at the 7-yard line. Preliminary signal is a hold. They are going to mark it at the 42-yard line, only a 34-yard punt. Now let's see if they want to make him kick it over again. 42 is pretty good field position.
I think you refuse this one. I think you decline this penalty. Take the ball at the 42. Ronnie Jones, new special teams coach of the Buffalo Bills.
Holding number 39 of the kicking team is declined. First down.
Rayon Hill called for the hold. They'll decline it, and Tennessee will have the ball. Here are the results of our live interactive poll. Was the Music City Miracle a backward pass? 70% of the nation says yes, and everyone with a computer in the state of New York says no. That's 30%. Tennessee with its best field position. Eddie George. They've done a great job against Eddie George. NFL Films, this play was so controversial, so close. NFL Films did a computer generation. And this is absolutely perfect the way it was mathematically. Here's the pass. There is a lateral. It is behind the lateral line. The call was correct. Wycheck to Dyson. They still will never believe it in Buffalo, but that's what the computers say.
You can sell these people snow and winter, and they won't buy that, baby.
George, complete down to the 23. A strike to Chris Sanders.
It's the first time he's gotten the ball to a wide receiver for a completion. And they're going to have to do more and more of it. Buffalo is really playing too deep. You see the corners off. Sanders just comes inside. Good throw down low. There you go, coming inside with the big target against Irvin.
Sanders, the forgotten receiver on this team. 6-year veteran. First 3 years, he averaged nearly 19.5 yards a catch. Eddie George. Pat Williams reached out, got one arm on him, and it was over.
Well, you've got two guys in the middle for the Buffalo Bills on defense, and that's Ted Washington, 92, and Pat Williams, 93. And you're not going to block them with one guy. And both of these guys, at the point of attack and from guard to guard, they are very, very quick. So the thing about it is, I think you should run out like by the tackles.
Lorenzo Neal in as a blocking back. 2nd and 8. Sanders and Thigpen to the same side. McNair. Can't find anybody. Phil Hansen took him down. And boy, the Bills were really screaming at Johnny Greer for a hold by Eddie George. He was trying to protect his quarterback.
It all starts with coverage. There's Wycheck trying to block. He's going nowhere. He's being covered by Henry Jones. Now, even as Steve McNair starts to scramble, there's nowhere to go. Ted Cottrell's defense is really getting it done with the guys up front. And he's allowing his corners and his safeties to take away the wide receivers.
3rd and 14. Wycheck, tight end screen to the 20. And that will bring on Al Del Greco. One of the most accurate kickers ever. 143, the most in any 5-year span in NFL history. This guy's money in the bank.
He also can putt.
Yes, he can. This is a sand wedge from 38 yards. Tennessee gets on the board with 4:17 to go in the first half. 7-3 in Buffalo. Log on to NFL.com and read what Coach Fisher had to say in his weekly journal.
I don't know that guy.
Boy, Joe got some friends, huh? That guy come out to the hotel, didn't Joe?
Maybe it's another Joe T. You hope. I hope. Hendrick kicking to Watson from the 11. Nice coverage, taken down to 24. ESPN Sunday Night Football is brought to you by Southwest Airlines, proud sponsor of the NFL and official airline of the Super Bowl. By Coca-Cola. Enjoy. By Adidas. By New Beck's Light. All beer, no compromise. And by the ridiculously easy-to-use eye control setting system. We are in Buffalo, New York, the stadium in Orchard Park on a beautiful evening early September. And it's been an outstanding game. 7-3.
A lot of hitting. A lot of hitting. Doug Flutie, the 3rd quarterback tonight.
Sean Bryson is in as the running back to give Smith a rest. Bryson will get the carry. A year removed from a serious knee injury.
Bryson is the fastest guy on this football team, and he's the one that if Buffalo wants to run any kind of screens and can get him out in space, he's the guy that can go the distance. There was, look at that at Tennessee.
He played ball with Peerless Price at Tennessee. Pretty fast himself. And they had some spirited discussions about who was faster. And finally, Peerless, I think, gave in.
Yep. And he admitted that Sean was faster.
Johnson to Peerless Price. Damon Sidney takes him out of bounds at the 36.
Johnson's pass complete to Peerless Price. Gain of 11.
A quarterback can control the tempo of a game. Rob Johnson's doing a good job. He'll go long counts on that particular play. He came to the line of scrimmage, went on a quicker count. And what it does is it just offsets the rhythm of the way Tennessee wants to try and put pressure on him. Helps his offensive line out a lot.
The numbers on Johnson so far. Like to throw again. Flags are down. Eric Moulds had no chance to get there because Samari Rolle had a hold of it.
Well, you save a touchdown, what Samari Rolle did, because Eric Moulds was gone. He knew he didn't have any help to the inside Samari Rolle. So he just grabbed Marcus Robinson.
Pass interference. Number 21. Defense. First down.
Marcus Robinson, 31 to safety, didn't get over. Watch what Samari Rolle does. He knows right here that he's beaten, so he just grabs him by the shirt. Actually, that's a smart play. You save a touchdown, they get the ball to 49.
What it amounts to is a 14-yard completion. You're right, Paul. Greg Williams, the defensive coordinator of the Tennessee Titans, he's going to continue to put pressure on Rob Johnson.
Haven't heard much about Javon Curse lately. Right now, he is not on that front wall. Bryson got a good block. Bryson with all that speed down to the 25.
There's your screen, Joe.
Sean Bryson, he gives you more up the field than Antoine Smith. Antoine's the pounder. It's a little bit of a screen out to the left side. Does a nice job. Now watch him go north to south. He doesn't dance around. He's just running by the Titan defenders.
Oh, one of those downhill runners.
He was the talk of the 99 training camp until he blew out his knee. He was the talk of this training camp. Johnson quickly over the middle. It's complete. Another first down to the 15. Jeremy McDaniel.
Boy, I'll tell you, Jeremy McDaniels, what an interesting story this guy is. And he was a guy that really never played, but he played the other receiver like Keyshawn Johnson. None of these Bills could cover him. And the guy ended up, the player said, hey, let's put this guy on our squad.
They couldn't stop him. The other team can't stop him now. 2-minute warning. Back after this. Stay tuned for that. We have 2 minutes to go. Bills have reached the 15. That's Main Street in Buffalo, New York, but it's deserted. Everybody is right here. You put one more person in the stadium, the fire marshal will have a fit. And Eric Moulds is now in the secondary. The only problem is the ball had not been snapped.
Ball start, number 80, offense. Still first down.
Running unimpeded through the secondary.
Yes, he was.
Unabated to the safety. Boy, he got off the ball quick, though, didn't he? That's really where you show your quickness, when you're all by yourself.
There's that hard count again.
Why aren't these guys covering you?
How do they get open so quick?
First and 15. Tennessee has made most of those kind of mistakes in this game. Johnson from the shotgun. Bryson on the draw. Flag is down, and this looks like the hold.
On Reuben Brown, number 79.
He had a big grip on Joe Salavea. And this will cost him another 10.
Well, the only thing about it is the whole... Look, Carl Mock. He's the offensive
line coach. Is he a piece of work or what?
The only thing with Reuben Brown that happened to him is they ran a draw play. The whole line went away and left him all by himself, and he's right in the middle.
79, offense. Still first down.
Well, we got the ump cam, and you're going to see exactly what the umpire sees, and you're going to see Reuben Brown on Joe Salavea. Here it is, Reuben Brown, 79. Salavea's number 95. Watch this. This is what he's looking at. You see Reuben Brown? That's a hole. And has had a great shot. Huh? Carl. Holding Carl. Carl.
We need a shot of Carl when he's happy. We always take the angry.
Put some ribs in front of him.
Keep it on the ground this time and only get it back to the 25-yard line.
Antoine Smith on the carry.
What you're doing now, if you're the Buffalo Bills, is you're playing a little bit more conservative. You've got yourself in a situation where you're going to have a shot at a field goal, so you don't want to put your quarterback at harm and risk because you know Tennessee can come after him. And to me, you want to keep the ball out of the middle of the football field. I think you try and work it outside to Price and Moulds.
Johnson in trouble. and does the smart thing and throws it away. He's outside the tight end to tight end box, so he can do anything he wants with it.
There is a classic example about how good this young man is and how poised he is. When you sit down and talk to him, he really seems like he's kind of laid back and relaxed. This is one of the plays that shows how relaxed he really is. He had enough presence of mind to get to the outside, wait, and then just dump the ball off and don't take the hit.
Now, there's a time when he wouldn't have done that.
No.
He'd have kept going and tried to make a play, and maybe something bad would have happened.
The other part of that is there's a time when he would have stayed in the pocket too long to try and get the ball up the field. So you can see the growth. His big thing is he's got to stay healthy to play.
Javon Kearse on the sideline. He has missed about 6 of the last 8 plays. It may be he's just getting a breather. No injury report of any kind. Now they want a screen, and Kenny Holmes did a great job of diagnosing it, and Johnson has to run for his life. Kenny Holmes saw the screen coming and just went right out with Sean Bryson and said, it's not going to happen.
Well, Rob Johnson, I mean, he got whacked. What he was trying to do is to stay in bounds to keep the clock going, and he gets hammered.
Timeout, 1:02 to go in the half.
People just don't appreciate the earth-shattering sound you get when we install a 12-inch subwoofer in your car.
The Buffalo Bills leading the Tennessee Titans 7-3 and bidding for more. 1:02 to go first half. They will face a 4th and very long, and the field goal unit is on. Steve Christie will attempt a 51-yard kick. Plenty of leg, but it just missed the post. 57 seconds to go. Tennessee's ball when we come back.
Man, I'm hungry. What, $1 for a sliver of raw fish?
It's sushi.
Sushi? Where I'm from, we call that stuff bait.
What else can you get for just $1?
Well, I can get a 20-minute phone call for only 99 cents.
Quit kidding around.
No, it's true. Dial 10-10-220. It's just 99 cents for all calls up to 20 minutes. And just 7 cents a minute after that. And get this, there's no monthly fee.
10-10-220 really is a great deal.
We know. Hey, you forgot to cook this.
Dial 10-10-220.
Tennessee from its own 41. McNair trying to get something started. Throws sideline complete, and that's the first throw to Carl Pickens. His first catch of the regular season in a Tennessee uniform.
I absolutely hate prevent defenses.
Because they
prevent you from winning, and they allow the other team to beat you or score.
That was a midseason setup for you.
Oh, man.
Tennessee already in Buffalo territory. 51 seconds to go. They have 2 timeouts left. Buffalo comes with a blitz. McNair steps up. Steve McNair inside the 30, and how smart is that? Signals a timeout as soon as he hits the ground.
How strong is he?
Is there any question? This is the problem you have if you manage to get free at Steve McNair. There comes Coward right up the middle. Doesn't come under control. McNair takes one glance, and this is the really good part. He makes a quick decision. He decides he wants to run with the football. He starts to think about sliding, and he says, you know, I think I can pick up 10 more yards. And he does. Mike Heimerdinger moved upstairs midway through last week's preseason game. He's just telling him, okay, look, Steve, just think about where you are. Don't throw the ball. Don't put yourself in a situation where you take a sack and take Al out of his range. And this is what you have to think about now. Plenty of time, 41 seconds, 1 timeout to go.
McNair's run was at 15 yards. Before that, they'd have 7 carries for 12 total. And this kid is a great runner. Three-man rush. He goes over the middle. Wide check inside the 15-yard line.
Yeah, I think now you can get up and just ground the ball. Plenty of time. Just ground it. Good. Save your timeout.
He's got 27 seconds and one timeout. You can go. It'll be second down. Well, it'll be second down because they burned one. You can go two more times. And you can go 2 times right to the end zone. Prevent defense.
I really believe that if Buffalo decides to try and go up and press anybody, if they try and go after McNair, they'll have a problem because Ted Cottrell's defense, you wind up with a mismatch, maybe Winfield on Pickens, and that's something you don't want.
McNair. Pickens trying to get out of bounds, and he won't. Stops shy of the 10. Clock continues to run, and now they use the final timeout to stop it. 19 seconds to go. If you just joined us, here's a recap of what has happened in the first half of play. Both teams came out slugging. Rob Johnson, the recipient of a lot of it. Michael Rohn got it there from Winfield. Pickens, or rather Price, with a great one-hand catch for the only touchdown. And we stand at 7-3. Javon Kearse was a factor early, but he hasn't been lately. Rob Johnson led his club on a nice drive the last time, but they took a sack and missed a long field goal.
It's really important that McNair has a little bit of latitude. If he takes a sack, it doesn't necessarily take Del Greco out of his range. He's just got to protect the ball, throwing it into the middle of the football field, and make sure it doesn't get batted up in the air where anybody can get it.
Throw it in the end zone or out of it.
McNair, pump fake over the middle. Frank Wycheck, with one of the best pair of hands in the National Football League, had a gift.
He'll never get one thrown any more perfectly or any easier.
I mean, McNair just guided this ball right into his hands. Watch Wycheck on this move. He goes inside. Look at this ball. It is thrown so easy. It's so soft. And it gets there. Look at this. Boom.
Maybe it's a little bit out in front, but he'll make more of those catches than he doesn't.
Del Greco from 27. He's already been good from 38. So they lose the opportunity to get a touchdown, but Del Greco converts his second field goal. Wycheck out of the University of Maryland has been this team's leading receiver 4 straight years. Here's another look at the drop. Tell you what, you better have your VCR rolling because he's not going to miss another one like that. Jeff Fisher celebrated a step too early.
Well, you talk about Wycheck, the same thing that Joe just said. If anybody's going to catch the ball, it's Wycheck.
This has been like this to me has been like a heavyweight fight. I think through the first half, both of these teams have run what they want to run. They've taken a look at what the defenses want to try and do to them. I would look for both of them to be a little more wide open come out through the second half.
Well, they've thrown plenty of body shots in the first half. Eddie George has not been much of a factor. That Buffalo defense has been tremendous. Watson awaits the kick with 11 seconds to go in the half. And he's corralled at the 25. Flags are down. Pushing and shoving after the tackle.
Perry Phoenix is going to wind up... Oops, I'm sorry. Yeah, Perry Phoenix is going to wind up getting a flag for Tennessee. Number 35. He got mauled. Didn't like it. Came up swinging.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Number 35 of the kicking team will penalize 15 yards and first down.
Now they move the ball up far enough so that Buffalo would have at least a chance to get the ball near the end zone on a Hail Mary.
You know, the thing about it is you just ask people in a game that is so close like this and so much that's involved in it. Emotion. Don't make something stupid.
Don't make the emotional mistakes. I mean, these guys are banging each other around. It's really a case of who's going to be able to keep the cool head in the end.
See if Rob Johnson can air one out with 5 seconds to go. 3 defenders standing 40 yards away from the line of scrimmage. Johnson will try to run.
Get down.
And he does the smart thing. He gets down, and that is the end of the first half. Check into Solomon Wilcott. Solly, what do you have?
Yeah, Mike, I'm with Tennessee Titans running back Eddie George. And Eddie, rushing yards is pretty hard to come by in the first half. Is it scheme or execution? What has to be done to improve in the second half?
We expected this hardcore first half. You know, we knew he was going to have to be patient with the run game. We just have to get on rhythm, and hopefully we can get something happening in the second half.
All right, thanks for stopping by. Back to you, Mike.
All right, Solomon, that's the end of the first half. The score 7-6 Buffalo. Now let's join Chris Berman for SportsCenter in-game, the Toyota halftime show.
All right, Michael, Paul, Joe, Solomon, thank you. As expected, a slugfest. You called it a heavyweight bout. 7-6 single digits as we have a premier matchup here in NFL 2000 kickoff weekend. And one of the toughest places to play in football to open up if you're on the road is Arrowhead Stadium. That was facing the Indianapolis Colts here on opening day, but Arrowhead was full with emotion for a different reason. Derek Thomas, 11 years. The Pro Bowl linebacker stood for the Kansas City Chiefs, the number 58 on all the Chiefs' helmets. But it was the young triplets of the Indianapolis Colts. Edgerrin James scored 2 touchdowns following Tarek Glenn at the blocking. Harrison had a 100-yard game. Peyton almost 300, 27-14. Indy wins at Kansas City. Drew Bledsoe sacked 6 times by Tampa Bay, 4 times in the first quarter. At the end of the first half, those tricky bucks. Sean King, Marino Wesker, Riedel Anthony instead of spiking. Tampa Bay wins at New England 21-16. Panthers at the Redskins. Stephen Davis, $90 million man, 133 yards on this day. Panthers led early, but Bruce Smith had 2 sacks, forced a fumble. Skins win at FedEx Field 20-17. Eagles at Cowboys. Eagles recovered an onside kick first play of the game. They knocked Troy Aikman out. They sacked him 4 times, 5 sacks in all. Deuce Staley had the first 200-yard game for a running back for the Eagles from Steve Van Buren in 1949. 201 yards. Deuce was an ace. The Eagles stunned the Cowboys in Big D 41-14. Cardinals at the Giants. Ron Dane looked good, but Tiki Barber looked better. Thunder, this is lightning. 144 yards and 2 TDs. He could go all the way for 78 yards. The Giants in the old uniforms win 21-16. Bears and Vikings, 2 second-year men making starts. Dante Culpepper to Randy Moss. He was big on this drive late as the Bears led 20-9 in the third quarter. But Culpepper not only threw to Moss, Culpepper ran for 3 touchdowns in this game. His feet, as much as his arm, led the Vikings from behind to beat the Bears 30-27 in Minneapolis. Jets packed Lambeau Field. Vinny Testaverde to Curtis My Favorite Martin. Jets lead 20-16 late. Brett Favre has done it so many times, but not this time. Victor Green the pick. Jets went on the road 20-16. Lions at Saints. Desmond Howard 4 years ago in this building returned kickoffs and punts for the Green Bay Packers so well. He did it for the Detroit Lions against the New Orleans Saints. 95 yards, and the Lions beat the Saints 14-10. No Dempsey field goal. 49ers at Falcons. Morton Anderson at 5 first-half field goal. Jamal Anderson, he's back. 24 carries, 77 yards. Prettiest throw of the day could be this. Chris Chandler. Moving on up to Sean Jefferson. Between double coverage, Falcons beat the 49ers 36-28. Seahawks at the Dolphins. Jay Fiedler from Dartmouth. Starting now in place of Dan Marino. Touchdown pass. 6 turnovers by the Seahawks, including 4 picks suffered by John Kitna. 23-0 Miami over Seattle. Chargers at 8-8. Late. It's Rich Gannon. 2.5 minutes to go to Andre Bad Moon Rising. Ryan Leaf, bloody, battered, picked up by William Thomas. Raiders 9, Chargers 6. Jaguars at Browns. Mark Brunell, 2 for 301, including this to Jimmy Smith. Browns made him sweat for 3 quarters, but the Jaguars, Stacey Mack touchdown, 27-7 Jacksonville. Next week, they will play Baltimore. They will have their hands full. Tony Banks, Kadre Ishmael, 53 yards. Ravens lead the Steelers 10-0. And they pitch a shutout. Steelers had 7 cracks inside the 3. They couldn't get it in. Ravens 16, Steelers nothing. End zone! Touchdown Titans! It's a miracle! Tennessee has pulled a miracle!
James Brown, the godfather of soul, saying it is time for revenge payback. And that's what they came here for. And if revenge is 1 point, they've got it so far. 7-6, Buffalo over the Tennessee Titans.
People are looking at say, look at his first half, 7-6 play. Can't be much going on there. This has been a great football game.
Yes, it has. It certainly had all the intensity you could ask for. Certainly as much intensity as the playoff game did last year. Tennessee will get the ball to start the third quarter. Derek Mason will drift back to his goal line, waiting for the kick of Steve Christie. He's playing with a bruised knee that he suffered in the last preseason. Seems to be kicking the ball really well, though. There's Mason. Line drive kick. Mason on the run at the 9. Reverses his field. Nowhere to go. Breaks a couple of tackles across the 30 and nearly broke it all the way up to the 33. Moments ago, Solomon Wilcots caught up with defensive star Phil Hansen. Here's what he had to say.
Phil, great job versus Eddie George and the running game. But so far, Steve McNair doing most of the damage running the ball. Is he a greater concern for you right now?
Well, so we got to keep him contained. If he's going to beat us, we're going to make him beat us throwing the ball, not running it.
All right, Phil. Thank you very much. Back up to you, Mike.
All right, thanks, Solomon. Eddie George on the delay. Henry Jones up in a heartbeat from the secondary. Take a look at the first half stats. Pretty reflective of an even battle. Tennessee with the advantage in the passing yards. Buffalo with the advantage in the rushing yards. Only 1 apart in total.
And the penalties, 7 for Tennessee. Most of them encroachment, offside.
Eddie George has had no room to run tonight. Blitz coming. McNair unloads, juggled, and dropped.
There's a matchup you'd like to try and get. Pickens on Winfield. Winfield staying right with him. Just look at the size difference in these two. Winfield staying right with them. You know, they always tell cornerbacks, keep an eye on somebody's belt buckle. In the case of Winfield, he just has to stand in front of Carl. That's all he's going to see is the belt buckle.
He'll have to look up.
Right there.
3rd and 10. Dyson, Thigpen, and Pickens, the wideouts. Underneath, Eddie George, struggling for yardage, 3 yards shy of the first down.
You know, like we talked about it in the opening, the one thing the Buffalo Bills want to see, and that's Steve McNair beat them deep, and he has not done that. They're going to they've taken Eddie George out of this ball game, and they're forcing McNair to do something he hasn't been able to do it.
And they've done it with the front 7. They haven't had to bring the safeties out of the middle of the football field to bring them up for run support. As long as they can do that, they can play the style of defense they're playing.
Hendrick will have to punt to Watson. Line drive. Watson trying to get up to it. He'll have to take it on the bounce at the 14-yard line. Hemmed in. And he'll lose a couple. 46-yard line drive punt, a loss of 2 on the return. Buffalo by 1. How big a factor is the freak? He's been on the field 25 plays. The Bills have gained 81 yards. 6 plays he was out. They got 41 yards and a touchdown.
I like it. Well, yesterday when I talked to him, I looked at him and I said, you know, they say you can rush the passer, but they can run at you.
I don't think so.
Wrong. He's gonna make believers out of people, I'm going to tell you.
Johnson on the run, throws to Morris. He's got it up at the 27-yard line. The rookie out of Texas Tech.
Paul, you talked about it. Javon Curse was really a guy everybody looked at as just a pass rusher. Didn't know he'd be this good on run defense. There you see him go around Remersma, tackles Antoine Smith, comes down hard inside, takes on Robert Hicks, still makes the tackle. I think he does a pretty darn good job against the run as well.
Well, he's so quick that he can get back to the hole, so he can actually run around the tackle.
And he plays so hard every play. Johnson, short set. Remersma in the flat. Nice move to get free. With that fancy little move, Remersma got 5 more yards and appears to have the first down. No, check it. He's 3 yards short.
Johnson's also very smart, Rob Johnson, because when he rolls away. Way away from Javon Curse.
Completion percentage, 9 of 13. In a game like this, you want to be efficient. You don't need to post big numbers. All you need to be is efficient.
Bryson hitting the backfield. Got one step. Curse and Thornton were right there.
Well, Rob Johnson really had to reach to get this ball to Sean Bryson.
Somebody stepped on his foot.
Yeah, I'm saying he had to reach.
Couldn't get away. Rob Johnson couldn't get away from the center. Here comes Javon down hard. I mean, you don't need big people in the middle when you've got Javon Curse coming from the outside and slanting hard inside.
He was a linebacker at Florida, had never played down line. Said at the beginning of last year he didn't even know how to get in the stance. Quick study. Johnson double clutches, throws too high for Moles. Had him wide open in the middle. You're not going to get that many chances tonight. You better make them count.
Well, he had to double clutch it. That was the whole thing. He had a Tennessee Titan in the way. Now he double clutches it and puts it up the field just a little bit higher than he wants. Looked like a similar throw that Steve McNair made in the first half that ultimately wound up getting picked off.
It has been a game of field position and breaks. Moore to punt to Mason. High floater. Mason at the 26. No place to go.
Yeah.
Breaks 4 tackles and across the 30. A 6-yard, terrific 6-yard return after a punt of 40. It's still 7-6 in Buffalo. Buffalo Bills said before the game, Eddie George cannot beat us. We have to stop him and make Steve McNair beat us. George, 11 yards on 6 carries. Steve McNair is basically thrown underneath. Of the 109 yards, only 41 produced by the wide receivers. The tight ends and the backs have gotten the rest. And Tennessee trails by a point. McNair. Incomplete, intended for Wycheck. Skipped it into him, and McNair looking very uncomfortable back there right now.
Well, that time he had a little bit of time to throw the ball. When he slid to the outside, there really wasn't anybody out there.
Yeah, but that time you had the corners off. In that instance, you've got the corners off, and still Tennessee does not go down the field. They've got to take a shot to try and stretch it. There's just nobody going any further than 10 yards.
Eddie George stood up in the backfield. Hanson was there first, and then Sam Rogers. And Buffalo's defense has been oh so tough tonight.
Well, Ted Washington, when you try to double team him with Bruce Matthews and Kevin Long, 60 and 74, watch this. He takes on the double team, and when he does that, Phil Hansen goes back to the inside and makes the play. Here's Washington. There's just no place to go, and Long can't move in number 60 out of the hole.
3rd and 10. McNair underneath again. Even if he completes it, it's 5 yards short of a first down. They simply are not getting anything down the field, Joe.
Well, they're not even trying,
That's
Mike.
right.
That's the thing. I think on first or second down, Mike Heimerdinger is going to have to be able to call something to give McNair a chance to go down the field. I realize they want to play this close to the vest, and the thing that he's trying to get is a matchup. And until you can force Buffalo to take those safeties out of the middle, he's not going to get the matchup he wants.
Hentrick on to punt again. A wobbler. Watson up to the 29. Watson. Marker down. Watson reaches the 50. We'll check the penalty. It's back at the 30-yard line.
And that'll take it back to the 20.
Illegal block in the back or illegal use of hands. So that'll wipe out a nice 11-yard return.
Illegal block in the back. Number 84 of the receiving team during the return.
That's the backup tight end, Bobby Collins. We've got a timeout on the field in a one-point game. It is a 1-point lead for the Bills over the Titans. 9:58 to go in the ball game, and Michael Rohn, tight end and H-back for the Titans, has been down ever since the punt. One of his own men hit him in the left knee, and he never saw it.
Mike Green is number 20, and he's going to come in and get blocked. Look on the left side of your screen, his left leg. I mean, he just takes him out. He gets blocked into his own man, Rohn. And I don't even, right there, you see his own man just take his knee out.
Gets his foot planted, and then you see it collapse the way knees aren't meant to bend.
Rohn caught 3 passes in the first half. He's a valuable member of this ball club when they go to a lot of 2 tight end sets.
It's a valuable part of the offense, Mike. I mean, you wind up with a rookie out of Florida, Kinney, now having to play that position, and how efficient are you? This is, Jackie Harris has moved on,
right?
So now all of a sudden you're really thin in a position where you rely an awful lot on movement, which means that Kinney will probably have to go up and play the tight end position, and Wycheck then will now have to become the move guy.
And it looks like they are pumping up one of those air casts to put on Michael Rohn's leg. We'll have a full slate of Labor Day baseball for you tomorrow on both ESPN and ESPN2. At 1, most of you will see the Mets against the Reds. Then at 4 o'clock, the Phillies and the Giants. At 9 p.m., the Pirates and the Dodgers over on ESPN2. At 1 o'clock, most of you will see the Mariners and the Red Sox. Check your local TV listings for more of our Labor Day baseball coverage. Certainly our best wishes go out to Michael Rohn as they're going to put him on the cart and take him off. We saw too many injuries during the preseason.
Arizona alone.
Oh, it was terrible, and we certainly don't want anything happening to any of these guys. Rohn has that leg stabilized. He'll get a nice hand from this partisan Buffalo crowd. Of course, the NFL and these teams have done such a great job in recent years with medical treatment. They have medics out here. They take all the time they need to make sure they get it right. And they've got facilities in the stadiums for x-rays and a lot of other things. Kickoff weekend for the NFL. Antoine Smith, nice cut to get back outside. Out of bounds across the 30. When the Bills sideline wanted a penalty for a face mask, I don't think anybody saw it. They get it right, and they've got facilities in the stadiums for x-rays and a lot of other things. Kickoff weekend for the NFL. Antoine Smith, nice cut to get back outside. Out of bounds across the 30. Boy, and the Bills sideline wanted a penalty for a face mask. I don't think anybody saw it.
You can be too aggressive. And I believe Eddie Robinson is the one that comes on the outside and winds up just running right by Antoine Smith. Look at that. Watch the left. See him on the ground, number 55? He just comes up the field. Smith cuts up inside of him, and Robinson just took himself right out of the play, just being too aggressive.
Boy, and Dane Sidney got away with a face mask, it appeared. Johnson throwing for Price. Sidney on the coverage. Pass incomplete.
This is another one of those situations where Javon Curse is not in the game. Now, he wasn't in on that last play. They picked up, 13 or 14 yards, and now they're very comfortable. Rob Johnson to go sit back in the pocket, and he can throw the ball because he doesn't have to worry about Javon Curse. Now he's back.
Well, the other thing is, remember, all through the preseason, they only play a couple series a little bit. I'm curious to see just how tired these guys are going to get. Somebody like the Bills haven't played in 9 weeks or 9 days getting ready for this one. The Titans are in a similar situation.
2nd and 10. And again, Tennessee jumps offside. Free play for Rob Johnson. Hit as he throws, incomplete. Another flag. That will be interference as they stopped Eric Moulds from getting to it.
And there's a third flag because Javon Curse hit Rob Johnson, and he laid him out.
Well, Rob Johnson was out there running around. Javon can take a shot at him.
Now, there's a flag, and I know that's not one of the offside flags.
Boy, and Ostrowski and Curse really woofing at each other.
Rob Johnson knew that he had Tennessee offsides, and he just continued to work and try and make a play.
We had 2 fouls on the defense. Offside, left end, it's declined. Pass interference, number 31 defense is accepted. First down.
Number 31, Marcus Robinson, tries to come back, pushes Eric Moulds trying to make a play. But this is because Rob Johnson works so hard at keeping this play going. And you see Javon Curse just level him while he was in the air.
That flag was not on Javon Curse back there. That was the offside flag on the other side. It just happened to be in the same place where he nailed Rob Johnson.
Certainly not a late or illegal hit. Just stuck him. Moulds hasn't caught a pass, but they have thrown 2 flags that resulted in interference calls on passes intended for him, and Antoine Smith simply lost his footing and went down.
This is where a quarterback was so mindful of the fact that a play is never over. A lot of guys will slow down. Veterans as well. A lot of guys will slow down after somebody jumps offside. Rob Johnson is showing me a lot. He's really playing a very smart football game.
Staying in the game.
Staying in the game. There's another guy who, same kind of quarterback, knows exactly what's going on all the time.
Titans show blitz. Johnson got rid of it.
Well, I'll tell you, he's not out of the
No, he's not. There's a flag. You must be outside the tight end on either side of the formation. Then you can throw it away.
Johnny Greer took a long time to make that decision.
I'm sorry.
And that will really push him back.
The Buffalo Bills are just not taking, neither one of these teams are taking.
Intentional grounding, number 11, offense. The ball will be placed at the spot of the pass. It's a loss of down. 3rd down.
Here's the box. We go tight end to tight end. He winds up throwing it right in that area, and that's not going to get it done. Rob Johnson's got to get outside the tight end box. He never gets anywhere near it, and there isn't a receiver, within a few seats of there.
Neither one of these teams have taken advantage of field position.
No, they haven't. 3rd and 27. Of course, their defenses have had something to do about that.
There's a credit to the defense.
This is a defensive down. 3rd and 27. Johnson with plenty of time. Now he runs and ducks under Curse. Let's go to the sideline and Solomon Wilcott. Solomon.
Yeah, Mike, as you saw Tennessee tight end Michael Rowan being taken off the field with an air cast on his left leg. The report has a strained ligaments in his left knee. He also has an ankle injury. He's been taken in for x-rays, but he definitely will not return to the game, Mike.
All right, Solomon, thanks very much. Moore will come on to kick. Derek Mason waits inside his 10. This is where Moore is at his best with those high floaters. Hangs this one up, not high enough, and Mason with a chance to return. Mason to the 20, a return of 9 after a punt of 38. And now pushing and shoving after the tackle. Emotions have run high as soon as this game was scheduled. We expected even more of this tonight. It is a 1-point Buffalo lead. Bruce Matthews has those 2 longest active streaks in the NFL. He's also played in 265 games, the most of any offensive lineman. He is still at a Pro Bowl level in his 18th year. That's right, 18th. Eddie George has not been able to get anything going at all tonight. Buffalo's defense has been superb. Bruce Matthews will have a chance to pass his brother Clay when they play in Cleveland. He would pass Gary Anderson at the same time, although Gary Anderson is still adding to his streak. George Blanda? I don't think so. McNair under pressure. And they got it. Keith Newman, who was active only 4 games last year, the new starting left outside linebacker. The Bills said he's going to be a good one, and he got the sack.
And he replaced Gabe Northern, who wound up getting cut by Pittsburgh, so they feel like they've improved in that area. McNair on a little bootleg. You see him come up the middle, Sam Rogers, and then from the outside, Newman just puts him on the ground.
3rd and 15. McNair, what? Holy cow, Eddie George was wide open.
I don't know if Eddie George would have scored because he had to wait for the ball to get there. But this ball hits him right in the stomach. Eddie George is a wide receiver on the outside. Watch this. He is wide open. He has to wait on the ball, and he looks up at the defender coming at him instead of looking at the ball.
Ken Irvin just let him go when McNair started to scramble. The second huge drop of the night for a Tennessee receiver. Hendrick kicking to Watson. Watson muffs it and somehow got it back. A 34-yard punt. Eddie George, who will rarely make a mistake, made a big one there. Buffalo at the Tennessee 47-yard line. Again, excellent field position from the Bills. Up 7-6. Johnson to throw on first down. Now flush. Look at the speed on Rob Johnson and slides in safe at the 34-yard line.
Eddie George on that last play, he just figured I got the catch made, but I'm looking at Kenny Irvin, number 27, coming at number 27, Eddie George. Look, watch his head. Look at his eyes. He's looking at Kenny Irvin. Never once does he look at the ball. He knows he's got it covered. It's going to hit him right in the gut, and he drops the football.
Eddie George will tell everybody it'll be all right. Rob Johnson has had 36 yards on the ground tonight. Antoine Smith swallowed in the backfield. Look at the sea of white jerseys. Henry Ford led the charge. Antoine's first move was to stop dead in his tracks because he had nowhere to go.
Javon Curse, again, number 90. Watch the pursuit. Down, around Hicks, through the line. You aren't going to cut back. I guarantee you that. If you're going away from him, you're not going to cut back because he'll be waiting for you. You know, this game is boiled down now to whoever can kick a field goal. If Buffalo can, they're going to force Tennessee to score a touchdown. If Tennessee does, you know, they get the advantage. It's that close.
Antoine Smith, 11 carries, only 38 yards. Here comes the blitz. Curse almost got there, and a great play by McCullough on coverage against Peerless Price. McCullough got there just in time.
Yeah, but Javon Curse is the one that makes this play not work because Rob Johnson doesn't have enough time to find Peerless Price. Javon Curse puts the heat on. And I can tell you right now, Rob Johnson, he knows he's coming, he can feel him coming, and he lets the ball go to the outside. Whether he hit him or not afterwards, look where he had to throw this ball.
Don't you think it'd be a good idea for somebody to slide out and get a piece of Javon Curse?
Someone ought to block him.
You got to put one person, somebody, anybody.
3rd and 15, and Ford jumps offside.
Now, Jeremy McDaniel,
Did he
the
move?
inside slot receiver, flinched. And I think that's the call.
Did they see it?
Encroachment. 92.
Nope.
Defense.
I want to show you.
Still 3rd down.
Number 86, Jeremy McDaniels, is the one who resets in his stance. Whether it happens right after, it must have happened right after, because he's the one that twitches. Watch the man on your left. There's the movement up the field, and they twitch. Everybody's getting a little edgy. I mean, they're doing a good job with the hard counts, but both teams now are getting a little edgy.
They've been edgy since warm-up.
They've been edgy since last year.
See if the penalty makes any difference. 3rd and 10. Johnson, good protection. Now he's flushed. Excellent speed, trying for the sticks. It'll be close.
He didn't make it.
He was short of our gold 1st and 10 line by maybe a foot.
He had to get to the 24-yard line, and he made it just about the 24 and a half.
And this is an instance where when you take a hit like that, you're almost better off being short instead of lining up and having to take some more.
Because you may not be ready for the next play.
I think he's a little groggy.
I'll tell you, when you take a hit like that, you are a little short.
He is the game's leading rusher. 5 carries, 45 yards. Christie will come on to try from 42 yards out. Steve Christie knocks it through, and the Bills will extend their lead to 4. ESPN Sunday Night Football is brought to you by the world's most popular ATVs, Honda, best on earth. By American Century, with over 40 yards of investment management experience. By Keystone Light, always smooth, never bitter. By Holiday Inn, who gives you more and more is better. And by Lexmark, passion for printing ideas. This is the rematch of the Music City Miracle, and we have certainly had some thumping tonight. Buffalo with a 4-point lead in a hard-fought game.
We've also talked about the fact that, Steve McNair was the one that the Bills had to worry about running the football. Rob Johnson has been the man using his legs for the Buffalo Bills that's made the difference.
Home run payback is what they're calling it here in Buffalo. If you don't think that play at the end of last season still has memories, the people here are extremely bitter. The people in Tennessee talk about it and laugh about it as well they should. A tremendous memory for them. Mason. Flag is down, so is Mason at the 33. But that play is going to live in the collective memories of these two teams for a long, long time. talk to players from both teams about the Music City Miracle, you tell me by the faces who was who. You can't miss the expressions, can you? And they want revenge. Payback Sunday night. Out of bounds. Thrown behind the intended receiver. Dyson was out there, turned upfield. The ball's thrown behind him.
We saw in that holding penalty on a kickoff return Jeff Fisher and how upset he was. Alan Lowry, who the special teams coach, is home watching this, and Jeff Fisher is the guy that's taking over the special teams.
Well, Neil O'Donnell has his hat on. He looks pretty serious standing over there on the sideline with the football. And it has not been a good night for McNair. Blitz coming. They got there at the 9. Newman with his second sack.
Well, you had Newman, you had Sean Price, and you had Ted Washington. All three guys are back there, and Newman makes the play. You don't have this much time, Steve McNair, to stand back and then step up and throw. Here they come. Newman's 53. 53 comes in. Newman hits him. Look who's there, 92. Ted Washington and Sean Price, number 91. They are all there. Any one of them could have made the play.
And Eddie George did not do a good job blocking Newman.
No, he didn't.
He went low on him and gave him a chance to get to McNair.
And he's normally a tremendous blocker. 3rd and 20. Thigpen. That is the first catch tonight for Yancey Thigpen. And on 3rd and 20, why do you throw for 2 yards?
It looked like Steve McNair was going to run a draw.
The reason why you do it, Mike, first of all, Buffalo doesn't let you get the ball down the field. Secondly, you don't have enough time to get rid of it. And thirdly, you're just trying to get a few more yards for your punter. That's the reason why you do it. If he'd have held it any longer, he'd probably been sacked.
Hendrick will have to kick out of the end zone. Watson waits near midfield. Hendrick high. Watson fair catch at the 50. 37-yard kick, but no return. Coming up next, Sports Center, Dan Patrick, Stuart Scott will bring you up to date on the day in sports. Our Sunday conversation with our newest Monday night colleague, Dennis Miller, the NFL Blitz, and our wild card updates. They are trying to do it tonight.
How many ways can you spell ESPN? How many different meanings will it have?
A lot. Steve McNair has really struggled, and total yards, the Titans in the second half as a team, -4. They can't get anything going, and the credit has to go to the Buffalo defense.
I think so.
They have been superb.
But also, it's the kind of game where you really have to be mentally tough. You've got over a quarter to hang in this thing. If the defense can get something stopped here, it'll help.
Sammy Moss. Well, let's just go back to last year's AFC wildcard game. They only needed the last 16 seconds to get something going.
I don't think they want to be in that situation again.
You know, the way this game is going, somebody is going to try something in the area of a trick play.
You thinking through the special teams somewhere?
Something.
Possibility.
Well, you were talking all week long after last year's game that you would see something on special teams.
And there's a chance that guy Frank Wycheck might be a part of it.
Out of the eye, Antoine Smith, covered up by Kenny Holmes. Holmes has had a good night from that right defensive end spot.
Well, they had a blitz on that time again, and they were forcing everything to the inside. They tried to run a little draw play to Antoine Smith, and he lost yardage again.
Time winding down, third quarter, 1:44 and counting.
And this
Bryson is in a tailback.
And this is a place now where Tennessee is going to have to start to pay a lot more attention to Rob Johnson's ability to run with the football, because on the last drive, he made a couple of key runs.
He's not a scrambler the way Flutie is, but straight line speed, he can really go. Hurst straight up the middle, flushes him out. Here goes Johnson, first down, and out of bounds. That's the speed.
Yeah, well, you're going to have, you go into this game not thinking that that's what you expect out of Rob Johnson, but in the last 2 drives, it's been his legs that have accounted for so much of the Buffalo's yardage.
By far, he's the leading ball carrier tonight. 6 carries, 60 yards.
They have all the receivers to the right side. He gets flushed. There's no one there to cover him, and he has to go. I'm thinking sooner or later they're going to have to go spy. See the 3 receivers? They run all the coverage off. You've got the safety in the middle of the field, and Riemersma becomes a blocker.
And Rob Johnson is in the best shape of his career because of off-season weight training and running. His body fat is down to 4 to 5%.
So is Paul.
Thank you, Bill.
6 rushes, 60 yards. I was talking about how Rob Johnson has really done things with his legs. There's the scramble getting out for the touchdown to Price. There he is waving it again. This results in an interference call. Now here's the crucial 3rd down pickup here. There he goes, scrambling up again, making things happen. This was on the last drive. What I liked about this particular run is he got out of bounds. He is not going to be able to do what he's been doing, continuing to stay in bounds and take the pounding.
Oh, he's taking a beating
that he's got. That was the one thing he did in the playoff game, too, I was impressed with. They pounded him in that game, and he still hung in there and made a great throw at the end to give his team a chance to win. Joe Pendry would prefer to have him not do that. But in a game like this, you do it.
They're at the edge of field goal territory. Bryson trying to use that speed to get outside. Horse collared at the 30. Join us for Sunday Night Football next week at 8:30 Eastern with an NFC East scorcher from the desert. The Dallas Cowboys head to Arizona to battle Jake Plummer and the Cardinals. Coverage begins at 7:30 with Chris Berman and Tom Jackson on prime time. And with both of those teams losing on opening day, that game takes on a lot more importance. If you want to be a contender, you can't afford to drop those first 2.
And Arizona's playing a lot of those games at home, and of course Troy Aikman hopefully will be healthy.
Smith stepped through 1 tackle, a couple of yards shy of a first down to the 24, and that could be the last play of the 3rd quarter.
Antoine Smith finally picked up some positive yardage. His last 3 carries before this carry here, he was -8.
This game looks so much like last year's AFC wildcard game, just battling it out 3-4 yards at a time.
It's what you expect from 2 really good football teams.
End of the 3rd quarter in Buffalo. 10-6 Bills. This is the NFL's 2000 kickoff weekend. The thing that impressed me the most in the opening weekend of today's game was Brett Favre's guts. With the tendonitis he has in his elbow, it's got to kill him to throw a football, and he's a gamer. He just hung in there in a losing cause.
It didn't surprise me because that's Brett Favre. What I was impressed with was the lack of special teams play. You saw it in the Washington game, 2 big kicks, one coming back. Detroit winds up winning their game. Desmond Howard with a big kick return. So special teams is something everybody didn't have a chance to work on through the preseason, and the result, you can see the results today.
Big 3rd down for Buffalo, 3rd and 2. Antoine Smith needed to get to the 22 and our 1st and 10 goal line. He did not make it. Paul, how about you? What did you see today or tonight that impressed you?
I'll tell you that I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to see the game, but I'm going to tell you something. The Baltimore Ravens, Joe raved about these guys in the offseason and about what a good football team they had. They knew they had a defense. They go into Pittsburgh and shut them out. Now, I know Pittsburgh's struggling, but when you look at this Baltimore Raven team, they are going to be heard from.
Now, you still shut down anybody in this league, you're doing well.
Christie for the field goal to make it a 7-point lead, a 41-yarder. Christie true again. The Bills extend their lead to 7. It's been a tough night for the great Eddie George. He's only had 8 carries and produced 14 yards. Steve McNair hasn't been able to pick up much of the slack in the passing game with 113. But these 2 huge opportunities would have made a difference. Frank Wycheck, the reliable tight end, drops a sure touchdown. Then McNair on a scramble to Eddie George, who's wide open behind everybody, and he couldn't catch it. Now that would have changed those stats dramatically.
It also would have given Tennessee much better field position and possibly given them an opportunity to kick a field goal.
Christie to Mason from the 7. Has the seam. Mason. Christie to beat. And Christie took him out of bounds. Huge return.
No flags.
58 yards for Derek Mason, the 4-year vet out of Michigan State.
You know what I like about Derek Mason when he runs with the ball? When he makes a decision, Joe, it's now. He saw the hole. Watch this here. Watch the cut back here. He sees the hole. Boom. Right? Back to the outside. He's made his decision. Christie saves a touchdown.
Jeff Fisher handling the special teams for Alan Lowry, who was hospitalized with a heart problem. They expect he'll be back next week, at least in a part-time capacity. And special teams came through that time. They'll set up shop at the Buffalo 35. Eddie George. Flag is down, and Eddie George was planted by Pat Williams, who's had a heck of a game.
You know why the flag is down? The right tackle, Fred Miller, I believe, was uncovered. The tight end went in motion and never covered the tackle.
Illegal formation, number 71, offense. Lined up on the end of the line and failed to record. Still first down.
That's a tight end's fault. He goes in motion. He's got to get up on the line of scrimmage and cover that tackle on the outside. You'll see it. You see Fred Miller right here in the end of the line to 71. Now here comes Wycheck, 89, and he's got to cover him.
Remember, the Titans have a rookie tight end in the game now.
That's Aaron Kinney, number 88. McNair with time. And somehow it got through to Wycheck. That looked like it was going to be picked off by Keon Carpenter, who came flying. The ball just hanging there, and Wycheck got it.
Well, you talk about a game of inches. Just how split seconds make such a difference. Here comes the play-action fake. Wycheck's going to run a little corner route. Left side of your screen. Watch Carpenter come through there. How it got through, he'll never know.
Wycheck is saying, come down, come down, come down. George. Eventually, Eddie George will break.
Well, that's the play they wanted to run before when Paul mentioned they were in the illegal formation. You've got Lorenzo Neal now as a hammer up front for Eddie George, and I would expect them to feature this more and more now as they get closer to the goal line.
And they're running off the left side behind Brad Hopkins and Bruce Matthews.
I'll tell you, if they ran a play-action pass right now, it's touchdown.
George on the toss. Cuts it back, lowers his head, dives inside the 10, a yard shy of the first down. You may get a serious dose of Eddie George on 3rd and 1.
I think you're going to get a serious dose of Eddie George the entire second half. Jeff Fisher said yesterday he feels like they can run against the Buffalo Bills. This time they get people running, and that's really what you want to do. You want to get Pat Williams and Ted Washington moving. As long as you can get them moving, you may be able to create some seams.
Biggest play of the game here, 3rd and 1. Eddie George behind Neal.
He didn't make it.
I think it'd be short. You kick the field goal. You take the points. You don't pass up a scoring opportunity.
And Jeff Fisher wants to know just how close it is. And they will measure.
I bet they go for it.
If it's down to inches, does that change your opinion about whether you go for a field goal?
No, it doesn't, because you will have given up a scoring opportunity, and you still have to force yourself into a touchdown situation just for a tie.
But the way their offense has been playing tonight, you just remember that was a kickoff return that got them back that far. Okay? So
the only big play
that's the only play they've had. So I'm telling you, I think you go for it. You may never get down here again, even though there's 11 minutes to go. You got to go for it.
And he is going to go for it.
You've got your people in a position. They have to score a touchdown. They don't need field goals.
Jeff Fisher says go for the first down. 4th and a foot. Tennessee trails by 7. Ted Cottrell sets his defense. Mike Heimerdinger calls out the play he wants for the Titans offense. And 75,000 come to their feet. McNair to throw. Incomplete. Intended for the tight end, Aaron Kinney. Henry Jones with the defensive play. Buffalo has held. Jeff Fisher rolled the dice on that decision and lost, but think of this. Buffalo has to start from its own 8-yard line, and the Bills have not moved the ball very well against this Titan defense, so they may get it back in good field position. But they do come away with no points. Antoine Smith.
I don't agree with the decision that he made to go for it. I would have kicked the field goal. But being that he did go for it, I do like the call. I think if he doesn't get tangled up here in Eddie George does a good job on the block. McNair has to reset himself. Kinney is able to get to the corner. McNair held it longer than he had to. Then he's got to try and come back and make a play. I think if everything went the way they wanted it to, he would have been open in the corner. But Henry Jones did a terrific job of getting back.
2nd and 8. Rob Johnson, and that one's dropped. Good throw by Johnson. Price couldn't hold it at the 15.
Well, the pressure was on Rob Johnson, and there is no reason why Peerless Price drops this ball, except these guys, what you're seeing are guys not concentrating. They're expecting to get hit. You got to catch the ball first. You're going to get hit.
I don't think they're not concentrating. I think fatigue has a little bit to do with the ball. I really do. Like I said, they haven't played an entire football game all preseason.
If you only weigh 180 pounds, you don't get tired, pal.
3rd down and long. Big rush. They got him at the 3. Curse is right there. Eddie Robinson was also coming.
Eddie Robinson was the guy. He comes inside. Javon Curse comes from the outside. And Rob Johnson is limping.
He's been sacked 5 times in this game.
Eddie Robinson is number 55. He's going to come to the inside. Javon Curse is to the outside. They never even slowed him down. And that was Sean Bryson.
That sack.
Well, you've got Bryson and Remersma trying to block those two. You know, it's not his offensive linemen that are doing it. That was on a back and a tight end that they beat.
Now Moore all the way near the back of the end line. Nice kick to get it out of there. Mason. Fair catch at the 49. A 44-yard kick in a clutch situation. And Rob Johnson will be tended to on the sideline. Looked like an ankle. Excellent field position for Tennessee. They start from the Buffalo 48. Eddie George on the toss. Cut it back. George for 5 yards. Rob Johnson being tended to by the Buffalo medical staff. They're working on his left foot and his left ankle. Here's what happened.
As he drops back, watch his left foot. He'll plant up on his toe. Right there, his left foot, and it looks like something gave way on him, and then he goes down. Now,
they get these high ankle sprains, which are just above the ankle, and it'd be hard to push off on.
McNair, play action. Has time, deep down the middle. Pickens, flag interference. A beat too early. Ken Irvin wrapped his arms around Pickens' neck.
Well, the big thing is this ball winds up hitting, I believe, Irvin in the back, which means that you have to get to the receiver before the ball does if that happens. Sooner or later, they had to do that.
Pass interference. 27. Defense. First down.
This ball hangs up enough in the air. Now you see Irvin come over. I mean, it hits him in the helmet. I don't know, and he's upset. I don't quite understand what he can be upset about.
He lassoed him around the neck.
He can't believe it.
That will never show up in Pickens' statistics, but that's a 41-yard gain.
And that's why you have a Carl Pickens on your team, so you can make those kind of throws.
First and goal. Tennessee with a chance to tie. McNair. Neal dropped it. 3 huge drops.
No, Mike, I believe Henry Jones gets a hand on this one. I'm not sure whether Neal actually drops this. Henry Jones is right there.
Lorenzo Neal, number 41, is to the outside. Take a look at it. Here's Lorenzo Neal. Nobody touches it. He just drops the ball, Joe.
I am wrong.
I was all ready to apologize to Lorenzo, but he just dropped that.
I apologize.
Wycheck dropped one earlier, one you couldn't believe. Second and goal. Eddie George on the toss. Touchdown. Go back to when they gambled on 4th and 1 inside the 10 and didn't make it. That's what set up this field position.
Right, the field position was the key.
Look at this toss. They go to Fred Miller's side, number 71. Look at the toss. Look at the blocking out front. And Eddie George cuts back in at number 90, Phil Hansen, and picks up the touchdown. You know, this guy talking about Eddie George says, I don't care if I gain 5 yards, if I have minus yardage. As long as we win, it doesn't make any difference.
I think the key for what Tennessee has done in the last 2 drives is they've tried to stretch Buffalo's defense and given Eddie a chance to cut back in.
Del Greco for the tie. Because of the attitude of Eddie George and a lot of his teammates, Bruce Matthews says this is a great group of people to be around. He loves the way they play. He loves their unselfishness. And they have tied the Bills at home. The Titans have tied the game at 13, 8:44 to go. Rob Johnson is on his feet, but not moving very well on that left ankle. And it looks like Alex Van Pelt will be the quarterback when they go from scrimmage. Chris Watson is deep to receive. Hendrick, nice kick. Muffed, and Watson will keep it in the end zone. They'll start from the 20. Let's go to Solomon Wilcots.
Yeah, Mike, there's great concern for Buffalo quarterback Rob Johnson. Came off the field. The doctors have been trying to see just how flexible that left ankle and foot is. Well, he's been wincing in great pain. They tried to get him to stand up and put weight on that foot, but he just hobbled. He appears to be in great pain. Now, Doug Flutie has come over to the backup quarterback, Alex Van Pelt. He patted him on the back, wished him a good job, but right now, Rob Johnson doesn't appear to be going back into this game. His availability is in question.
All right, thanks, Solomon. Alex Van Pelt comes on. Flutie is the emergency quarterback because of a torn groin. He is still not 100%.
And you definitely run the football here.
Bryson, nowhere to go, and the Titans know that as well. Now, Van Pelt was ready to give up professional football. He was 2 days away from selling his house in the Buffalo area, moving back to Pittsburgh. They re-signed him. He had a brilliant college career at Pittsburgh, broke most of Dan Marino's records, threw for more than 2,000 yards every year.
Yeah, but you don't want to put him in a 3rd and long to have to throw against this defense the way they've been coming.
Not this rush.
He can't run like Rob Johnson can.
Johnson has been sacked 5 times in this game. The last one took him out. Van Pelt blitz. throws dropped by Peerless Price. A good throw by Van Pelt, and the receivers have not done their quarterbacks a lot of favors tonight.
On either side. Lack of concentration.
Gotta be.
I tell you, if you're 170, 180 pounds, you don't get tired, Joe. You ever remember when you were 170? No, you probably don't. You were born, you weighed 170. You had to go to work right away. You were very poor.
The only thing the Bills can tell us so far is that it was a lower leg injury for Rob Johnson.
And that's really been his problem. He's not been able to stay healthy.
3rd and 11. This is only the 9th start of his career. Blitz coming. Pick it up really well. Van Pelt throws underneath complete, but short of the first down to Moulds in the 29.
But this is a receiver's fault here because Eric Moulds, you got to know where the first down marker is. He had to get to the 30-yard line. He got to the 28 and a half. That's not enough.
It's the most classic situation for a receiver. When they're in press coverage, they always seem to cut all the routes by at least a yard or two short. And it's not just Eric. Every receiver I've ever worked with has had the same situation. Everything gets speeded up a little bit.
More to punt. Mason is deep. The momentum has certainly shifted to the Titans. Mason races up to the 35. Nearly dehorned at the 40. ESPN Sunday Night Football is brought to you by State Farm Insurance. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. By Gatorade Thirst Quencher. Gatorade, is it in you? And by DirecTV. Never miss a moment. Tennessee has the football, 7:07 to go in the game. Now do we go back to another large helping of Eddie George?
You're going to get a giant dose of Eddie, and you're going to get Lorenzo Neal, I believe, in the game. The formation we saw before with one tight end moving, the other one blocking. And I would continue to allow Eddie to stretch it and pick and choose where he wants to go.
George on the toss. Nothing. And 75,000 people are cheering their hearts out here in Buffalo as that defense has stifled Eddie George the entire evening.
Well, the middle of the defensive line, there's no place to run, but Pat Williams, 93, and Teddy Washington, 92. Watch these two guys. They just stand up the offensive linemen, and there's just no place to run the football. You cannot run there.
With those two guys in there together, they take up a lot of space.
There they are again.
They cover the guard and two guards in the center between them. McNair, Williams, loose ball. Tennessee got it back. Pat Williams is having a career night.
You know, every time he was in a game last year, something happened. I mean, this guy is such a great player. And when you get both of them, Ted Washington and Pat Williams on at the same time, like they have here, now just take a look at Pat Williams. I mean, he just blows by Benji Olsen. He never has a chance, number 75. He gets to the quarterback.
How can a guy at 310 be that quick?
You only have to work in a small area, man.
3rd and 19. McNair underneath to Eddie George. Very conservative play, and he's swallowed up by Sam Coward.
Yeah, but this now it even becomes more of a chess match when you're talking about field position. Tennessee will want to get a good kick out, put Wade Phillips' team back, and make Van Pelt work from a hole. That's what they're going to try and do. And believe me, Jeff Fisher will put heat on him.
Jeff Fisher, such a bright coach who did such a beautiful job holding this franchise together before they had a real home in Nashville. Watson deep to receive the punt. 23-yard line. Across the 30. Monday Night Countdown. Tomorrow night at 7:30 Eastern. Mike Tirico and the gang review Sunday's top stories and preview the Monday night matchup. Then at 9, it's ABC's Monday Night Football with a tilt between the last two Super Bowl champions. The Broncos battle the Rams. We have no further injury update for you on Rob Johnson, but he was not moving around well at all. It looked like he was just having a terrible time putting any weight on that left leg.
The thing about Van Pelt, now, Alex has been a part of this system for a long time, so it's not like all of a sudden you're sticking a guy in there that doesn't really know what he can do, or he's limited, and say like Doug Flutie is.
The only thing that Alex Van Pelt, when he came in, he knows the system. You're right, Joe. He knows the system. He just had to get in shape, and he's really not in playing shape yet. But they're not going to ask him to do a lot of running around.
I think he can drop back and throw it.
Antoine Smith, the running back. Van Pelt to throw, had it batted down at the line of scrimmage.
I like what Joe Pendry is doing, the offensive coordinator of the Buffalo Bills, though. He's not just handing it off to Smith or Bryson. He's letting Van Pelt run this game like he normally would with Rob Johnson in there.
If Doug Flutie were to come in the game, Wade Phillips said all he would ask him to do, all he would tell him to do is hand the ball off whether they're ahead or behind, because he doesn't want him to get hurt anymore. I don't know if Flutie would go along with it. Antoine Smith, no chance, hit in the backfield and stopped for a loss. John Fina was eaten up that time by Henry Ford.
The best part of the Buffalo Bill offense tonight has been Rob Johnson's ability to improvise and run with the football. That has now been taken out of the game. Somehow or other, one of the wide receivers is going to have to come up with a play to help this offense out. It's got to fall on the shoulders of them now.
You just hope for Rob Johnson's sake that he is healthy enough to come back next week, because he has shown flashes that he can really lead this ball club if he can stay healthy. Third and long for Van Pelt. Sits in the pocket and throws complete. What a throw, and the first down to Jeremy McDaniel at the sideline.
That's what I'm talking about. Somebody else is going to have to help him out. Jeremy McDaniels is a guy, as Paul has talked about, they had trouble covering him. They needed to get him on the field. And as Wade Phillips said, nobody's covered him yet. Look at how wide open he is. Nice throw, giving him a chance to make the play.
Robert Hicks, number 77 on Javon Curse. Look at this. He gets his hands right in his face. He gets to Javon Curse, and that's what you have to do. Get your hands on him.
Bryson across midfield in the Titans territory. Time becoming a factor as we approach 4 minutes.
Well, the Bills have 2 timeouts, and the Titans have 3. They're not thinking about timeouts right now. They're thinking about getting themselves in field goal position.
Mike Patrick, Joe Theismann, Paul McGuire, Solomon Wilcox, our entire ESPN crew. We knew this would be a beauty because of the emotion being carried over from last year's AFC wildcard game, and it certainly has been. No quarter asked, none given. 2nd and 7. Van Pelt, short set. Reamersman. Eddie Robinson right there to spin him out of bounds, gain of about a yard.
I think in this situation, Tennessee's got to gamble and go after Alex Van Pelt. I do not believe that they can allow him to drop back, have time to throw the ball down the field. I think
there's Javon Curse on the sideline. If people are wondering why he's there, it's warm tonight. Most coaches want to rotate guys in and out. You simply can't ask people to stand out there and play 60 snaps and give it everything they have every play. 3rd and 6 for Buffalo. Van Pelt. Moles couldn't hold it. Would have been very close to a first down, and Samari roll on defense.
Samari roll. Just you talk about his closing ability. He told us about it. Bigger guys, I'll stay back off him. Watch number 21 close on Moles. Moles got him by 3 yards. Watch this. Now the pass was a little late getting there, but that was a nice reaction by Samari roll, number 21.
Buffalo will have to punt with 2:16 to go in the game. Moore, who has kicked the ball 8 times already for 42-6, punting to Mason. Mason, fair catch inside the 15-yard line. 36-yard punt, but no return. 2:37 to go in the game. Steve McNair will bring the Tennessee offense out with plenty of time to go. Monday Night Football tomorrow night, 9 Eastern. It features the last two Super Bowl champions, the Broncos and the Rams. And that next Sunday night, we'll head to Arizona. Troy Aikman and the Cowboys hopefully will take on Jake Plummer and the Cardinals. Aikman, of course, banged around today in their loss to the Eagles.
And they also lost Joey Galloway today. We think they carted him off the field. We haven't heard any word about what happened to him. They think it's his leg.
Johnson and Flutie, who have not been the closest of teammates. Eddie George gets out to the 17.
Williams taking the tackle on Eddie George.
Tennessee used to being in close games. 3 points or less last year. They were 5-1, tied for the best record under those circumstances. 7 points or less. They were the best team in the NFL. 7-1. They're in a tie game right now, and they're waiting for the 2-minute warning. If the 12th man makes any difference, Buffalo has the advantage in the last 2 minutes of play. Blitz and our wild card updates.
Sit back and relax, boys, because you're going to watch a great finish.
We may be a while, too. 2nd and 7 for Tennessee. Eddie George reaches the 20 and no more.
You know, some of the Bills, they take time out because Tennessee, they're just trying to run the clock out.
I don't think so. I don't think they're trying to run it out. I think what they're trying to do is get themselves in position so that they can try for a first down. I wouldn't call a timeout here. I would just let the clock go and continue to play my defense. If they throw the ball here, then you know they're trying to pick up the first down.
George. Now you've got to use a timeout.
Yeah, now, but I would have used one before. You got a minute and 15 now.
And they stop it at 1:15. They should have good field position after the punt. Here's the game summary. We've had some big plays. Rob Johnson, a peerless Price for the first half touchdown. Wycheck drops the touchdown. They go for it on 4th and a foot, miss in the end zone, get it back, and Eddie George converts. And then the injury to Rob Johnson as he planted his left foot and it buckled under him. Johnson has been replaced by Alex Van Pelt.
You know the amazing thing about it? Now, Doug Flutie, you're not expecting him to be back until after the bye, which is 3 more weeks from now.
Right.
Rob Johnson, if he's hurt, he can't play. All you have is Alex Van Pelt. You don't have anybody on their, what they call taxi squad. Well, they don't have another quarterback here.
The only one you go to is Chris Moore.
He's a punter.
Yeah, but he is the one. If Doug Flutie wouldn't play, he would have been the quarterback. So, and I don't see. Doug said he's about 90% when I talked to him on Friday.
Well, neither Wade Phillips nor Chris Moore is looking forward to that alternative. Hendrick to punt on 4th and 2, a minute 15 to go in a tie ball game. Now they're going to spread him out, and Hendrick comes under center on 4th and 2.
They're just going to take the penalty.
I don't believe he'll snap this.
They want to draw him offside. And the Bills are not going to go along with it. And a procedure call will go against Buffalo. Against Tennessee.
Boy, you were praying for something tricky, weren't you?
Well, there it was, but Buffalo was not going to be fooled by it.
That's a lot of confidence in your defense to give up 5 yards in a critical situation like this. Ronnie Jones had his special teams ready for whatever Jeff Fisher wanted to do.
They're pulling all the cats out of the bag in the first game. Good protection for Hendrick. Watson from the 42. Gives ground. trying to get out to the outside and makes it back to the 45. 3-yard return after a 40-yard kick. These beautiful overhead shots are provided by the Yahoo Sports aerial cam high above Ralph Wilson Stadium.
Yahoo
for this game.
Yeah, we always talk about matchups and situations. Now with Eric Moulds and Peerless Price, you know that Sidney and Roll will wind up on them. The guy I think they may try and work to will be McDaniel again. Jeremy McDaniel, number 86, probably will draw the matchup on the nickel.
1 minute and 1 left. A field goal would win it.
I don't know how to cover Jeremy McDaniels now.
Alex Van Pelt threw it right into the chest of Jason Fisk. Oh!
Jason, you got to catch the ball, Jason. Jason Fisk, number 97. Alex Van Pelt, watch this throw. There's Jason Fisk, and he can't get his arms around it. He said, this baby is mine. Look at number 97. Ostrowski, the center, is blocking him. He lets him go. There was supposed to be a screen to Sean Bryson up the middle, and Jason Fisk played it beautifully.
4-man rush. Quick throw to Moulds. Moulds, 40, 30, out of bounds at the 20. The wide receivers hadn't given them anything all night long, and Van Pelt hits Moulds for 36.
This is how strong he is. This is how strong. He breaks Bishop's tackle. Samari can't even. He throws Samari away like he's not even there.
Steve Christie, who could be the difference. Tennessee has all 3 timeouts. They may have to use them right here. Antoine Smith splits one tackle back to the line of scrimmage, and Tennessee has to stop the clock. All they can do is try to prevent the first down and hope that Christie misses the field goal. They have to stop it after every play or they run out of time. Christie in his career has converted 14 out of 16 game-winning field goals. Those are field goals made with 2 minutes or less to go in the game. He has been a clutch kicker his entire career. Carl Mauck, the line coach, talking to Jerry Ostrowski, the center. It's a lonely feeling for a kicker because nobody is going to come over and say anything to you.
Oh, they stay away from you. They leave in your own world. I just, like I said, I've been really impressed with the job Joe Pendry has done as the coordinator. It's like he didn't skip a beat. He didn't try and protect Van Pelt. He just let him go out and run this offense.
You're absolutely right. He gave it to Van Pelt and said, you know, we're trying to win this ball game. Go get him. And Van Pelt has thrown the ball very, very well.
Hey, don't be surprised if somewhere down here they don't take a shot for a touchdown either.
Van Pelt out of close to my hometown, Fairmont, West Virginia.
You had to get West Virginia. Did they win this weekend?
Yes, they did.
There we go, boys.
Bryson to the 16. Tennessee, another timeout. Just trying to get position for Christie.
Now you run one more play back towards the middle and put it right directly in the middle of the field.
I don't think it really. Those hash marks are so close anymore. I don't really think it matters that much. You just want to make sure one thing: he doesn't put the ball on the ground. The worst thing you can do in a situation like this is say to the back, "Okay, hang on to it, don't fumble." It's like guys that have made 80 free throws in a row. As soon as you say something, boom, you jinx them.
Well, this has all the earmarks of last year's playoff game. Buffalo is driving for the go-ahead field goal.
You're waiting for him to get down to 16
and then
seconds?
they will kick it off.
Well, Tennessee's going to take one more timeout. That's all they have left after this play here.
Eddie George can only hope for another opportunity. 3rd and 6. Bryson. Cut down at the 15, the last time out with 36 seconds left. That will bring up the field goal opportunity for Christie. You are not watching a replay of last year's AFC wildcard game. There is more time left in this one, but it is really close.
I'll tell you, there are so many of these memories of last year's game going through my mind right now. You're thinking about, they were in this position, and they're going to be excited, but they're not going to be really excited until the whistle blows and the game's over.
I think he's going to kick the ball deep.
If Christie makes this field goal, I would not want to be on special teams for Buffalo on kick coverage. I'd be scared to death.
Well, I can assure you, after this, we'll talk about the kickoff. If he makes this.
Christie from 33. He's hit from 41 and 42, missed from 51. Got it. The third field goal of the night for Christie.
Look at these players. They are not all that excited. I mean, the Buffalo Bills players. Look at it. Because they remember what happened a year ago. They're waiting for another 31 seconds to run off that clock.
Now you bring up the question. Do you kick it short or do you kick it down the field? I think you kick it down the field.
You kick it down the field, and I can assure you of one thing. There are going to be 11 guys in 11 lanes, and they're not moving.
Last year, they didn't pooch it. They didn't kick it mid-range. They tried that middle range kick, and that's what set up home run throwback. That was with 16 seconds left last year. They took the lead on a field goal. Now there is 31. Kevin Dyson was the guy who went 75 yards with the lateral. He took the pass from Frank Wycheck, who took the handoff from Lorenzo Neal. And they're all out there.
Keep in mind, Derek Mason was the guy who was supposed to be the man that would catch the ball.
Ronnie Jones, the special teams coach,
now in Buffalo because
of home run throwback last year. Here's the kick. Mason, 2 yards deep.
Out.
Mason. What a return to the 49. A 51-yard kickoff return for Mason.
You know why this thing goes back this far? First of all, there is blocking. But what I said to you before, on the kickoff team, everybody has a lane, and they all stayed in their lanes. Now, Tennessee, they don't have any more timeouts. But watch these guys. You don't see a whole lot of pursuit. Here comes Mason. There's at the point of attack, there's guys. Look at Christie. He's the only guy that really moved over.
No timeouts for the Titans. They need about 15 yards to give Del Greco any shot. Eddie George can't get out of bounds. They've got to come up and kill the clock at the line of scrimmage. Time's wasting. They kill it with 6 seconds. Now with no timeouts. It looked like 6 when he downed it down to 4. Now they've got to throw something short to the sideline.
Very short.
Yeah.
This has got to be a 4-yard, 5-yard route. No more than that where you're going to wind up with 1 second left.
Well, it's 60 yards from here.
It's 60, but Craig Hendrick is coming in to kick it. Now, we talked about how powerful a leg he has. This is not going to be Al Del Greco trying this.
Hendrick.
Look at the Buffalo Bills defense is trying to figure out where do you want us to line up.
Well, now that means Dyson has to hold, so you've got a holder and a kicker, both different.
Buffalo's not want to call a timeout, I think. Because these guys don't know where to line up.
You've got what you've got for Tennessee. You got a different holder in Dyson, different kicker in Hendrick. Now Wade's sitting there. You can just see the look on Wade Phillips's mind. Okay, what's Fisher up to? Is he really going to do this, or are they going to try something to get a few yards? I don't think so. I really think this is a legitimate try at a kick.
And Hendrick does have the leg. He would have the chance to make this.
Referee just said the Buffalo Bills have taken their final timeout and regrouped.
The biggest thing here is can he get it high? This is the key. Normally from this distance, the ball comes out low. He gets it too high, it won't get there.
Greg Hendrick from 60 yards away. The tie.
He should have time. They only have 4 guys rushing.
It's got a chance, but it's wide.